in relation to the murder. People over 40 are expected to be included in an updated booster programme to be announced this week. The government is looking to speed up the delivery of third shots due to concern over the Omicron variant. It's aiming to have 1.5 million third doses administered before Christmas. Meanwhile, over 30s in Northern Ireland who've had a second dose of a COVID vaccine 3 months ago can get a third dose from today. The booster rollout is being ramped up across the UK over fears of the Omicron variant, with the British Prime Minister warning being double jabbed is simply not enough to stop it spreading. People in the north must also show proof of a negative COVID test or vaccination to get into nightclubs, pubs or restaurants from today. Northern Ireland First Minister Paul Givan is appealing for people to come forward for the vaccine.
This is the single most impactful measure that you can take to help prevent serious illness from the coronavirus and then potential hospitalisations that put pressures on our health service.
Donegal County Council is being urged to engage as a matter of urgency with the government's shared island unit with a view to accessing Brexit adjustment funding for Donegal and the North West region. A motion is to be discussed at today's reconvened monthly council meeting. It's being tabled by Councillor Cian Brogan, who says in the context of the North West cross-border group, there is a lot of very important work being done, and it's important, he says, that Donegal is seizing every opportunity that offers.
We're a huge county. There's many challenges for us here, but there's also opportunities for us as well going forward. So it's important that we start that engagement now at an early stage, and we demonstrate to government and to the department that we as a council are eager to be part of any opportunities that may present themselves, because there's huge investment needed in many areas of our piers and harbours and indeed agriculture, but also the whole area of incubation and business development as well. We need to, at an early stage, get in there.
Weather now variable Clyde with sunny spells today and some scattered showers. Highest temperatures of 5 to 8 degrees. That's all from Highland Radio News for now. We'll be back with news again at 10 o'clock. Until then, good morning.
Christmas, a time of caring, sharing and compromises, like deciding which presents make your list or which in-laws you're going to for dinner. But with An Post Mobile, there are no contracts, no bills and no compromises. Just unlimited calls, texts and a whopping 50 gigabytes of 4G data with 99% population coverage. All for only €15 a month, and you get the first month free when you switch. Switch to An Post Mobile today and shop our range, including the Samsung A02s from $129.95 at anpost.com/mobile or at your local post office. An Post Mobile, for your world. €15 unlimited available for new customers. Fair usage policy applies. For terms and conditions, see anpost.com/mobile.
Chanel, Flowerbomb, Lancôme, Giorgio Armani, Paco Rabanne, Hugo Boss. Where else but at McGee's Chemist this Christmas? Sponsors of the 9 till noon show.
And a very good morning to you. It's the 9 till noon show on Highland Radio. Donal Kavanagh with you for the next 3 hours. A packed show as always, but as we always say, whatever we've got in terms of our plans, the most important thing on this programme is your perspectives, your views and your contributions. You can text us on 086 60 25,000, call us on 07491 25,000. You can email us at comments@highlandradio.com. We're on social media, of course. We're at Highland Radio on Twitter. We're Highland Hub on Facebook. And the text number 086 60 25,000. That number good for WhatsApp messages as well. So please do get in touch. Let us know what's on your mind this morning, and we will endeavour to address the issues that you would like to see addressed. Looking at the papers this morning, we begin with the Monday edition of the Donegal News and a very sad headline. He had his whole life in front of him. There is deep sadness and despair in Killygordon following the death of a 19-year-old motorcyclist in a tragic two-vehicle crash. Finlay Cole, who was 19, resided in Letterkenny. He was a native of Ballaghaderreen in Roscommon. Also, the ongoing roadworks on Letterkenny's 4-lane road are set to continue during the run-up to Christmas, despite a previous promise to halt the major works to accommodate the busy shopping period. Chamber met with contractors to discuss the progress of the works. It was decided that the works would continue throughout December, up until the 23rd, which is a Thursday. The Derry News this morning Posthumous award for John and Pat Hume is the main headline there. Derry couple to be honoured at the Business and Finance Awards. The late John Hume and his wife Pat are to be recognised for their exemplary contribution to public life in Northern Ireland. Moving to the Nationals, Irish Independent this morning. Donoghue will ask voters to re-elect Grand Coalition. Finance Minister Paschal Donoghue has insisted the country's first Grand Coalition government will go into the next election seeking a second term in office. He said there is absolutely every prospect of the three-party government asking voters to re-elect them to office when the country next votes. And that will be very interesting, because it's one thing to have a Fianna Fáil Fine Gael government. What we've never seen is a Fianna Fáil Fine Gael election pact, and the idea of Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael almost fighting an election together is a really, really interesting one, and it will be very interesting to see exactly how that one pans out. I have to say I'm a little sceptical that we will get a completely unified FFFG all brothers and sisters together campaign during the course of the next election. I mean, there are always bruising battles between those two parties, and I'm not quite sure that there won't be on the next occasion as well. The front of the Irish Times this morning. Booster rollout for children and under 40s to be updated. 4 more cases of Omicron reported. It brings the total detected in the state to 10. The HSE is to increase capacity at vaccination centres by 25% amid fears over variant. And certainly if you were watching TV over the weekend, you'll have seen huge queues in parts of the country, Dublin, Cork, etc. Now I have to say, and I have to take my hat off, because my better half and I both went to get our boosters on Saturday afternoon in Letterkenny, and I have to say there was very little queuing involved, and it was brisk, and it was working really well. And I have to say the crew down at the business park there, the old Upton building, were absolutely phenomenal in the way they had everything organised, and fair play to them. And absolutely that rollout of the booster is really proceeding apace, and to be stepped up even more, according to that Irish Times front page this morning. A growing support for climate action among voters. Most agree it should be the government's top priority, according to an Irish Times Ipsos MRBI poll. Pat Leahy writes strong support for action on climate change, with more than half of voters agreeing that it should be the top priority. A majority saying they would be willing to make changes in their own lives, even if it involves cost and inconvenience to them. Irish Daily Mail this morning, main headline, public back mandatory vaccination. A majority of people support mandatory COVID vaccinations, according to a new Ireland Thinks survey conducted for the Irish Daily Mail. 55% said yes, vaccines should be mandatory. 33% said no. The remaining 7% said don't know. It reflects, the paper says, a sense of public frustration at those failing to take up their vaccines, with Minister Simon Harris saying the booster campaign needs a boost itself. He says the government is eager to move ahead to people over aged 40 and above. And that's the front of the Irish Daily Mail. Moving to the tabloids, the Irish Daily Star this morning, Marty's anguish. How can I go on without you, ma'am? A tearful Marty Morrissey yesterday told his mother Peggy's funeral mass, I don't know how we'll survive without you. The RTE sports commentator said he endured a week from hell after his 94-year-old mum died in a road crash last week. She was seeking shelter from the approaching storm Barra when tragically she was involved in a single vehicle collision. COVID red alert, a story about Manchester United and a number of COVID cases striking the team there. And Dunphy exclusive, Kenny is the right man for the job. And you can read what Eamon Dunphy has to say inside the paper. Irish Daily Mirror this morning, RTE Stars tearful tribute. Thanks, Mum, for being so wonderful again. Marty Morrissey speaking at his mother's funeral in County Clare. Also, if you're a fan of the Hairy Bikers, they have a no stress Christmas dinner feature on the inside of the Irish Daily Mirror. So if you're looking for some tips with regards to Christmas dinner, they're available in the Daily Mirror today. And let's be honest, tips on your Christmas dinner will be available in every newspaper, every magazine, and every media outlet between now and Christmas itself. The one thing we will not be in any way short of is hints as to how we can better prepare our Christmas meal. Irish Sun this morning, Brutes bid for Christmas parole. Joe should never taste freedom. The brother of tragic Rachel Callally has blasted killer Joe O'Reilly's bid for Christmas freedom as barbaric. The murderer, 49, who bludgeoned his 30-year-old wife to death at home in 2004, wanted up to 3 days out of the slammer but was rejected. Rachel Brothers' fury at killer's plot for festive jail escape, so we're told. Also coverage on the papers this morning of all the weekend sporting action, including Max Verstappen's victory in the Formula One World Championship. We're actually big Formula One fans in our house, and I was working yesterday, so I wasn't watching it at home, which is probably just as well, because I have a daughter who is big into Formula One and a major Max Verstappen fan. And can I just apologise to our neighbours? In fact, can I just apologise to anyone who lives within about 15 houses of us, because I wasn't there, but I know for a fact that my beloved daughter will have been, to say the least, enthusiastic in her reactions to what was happening on TV yesterday. It was a very interesting race indeed. So that's how the papers are looking on this Monday morning. It is the 13th of November. As we say, you can text us, you can ring us, you can make contact with the show with your news and views. Lots to come, as we say, over the next 3 hours. We're going to take a short break. Back after these.
The newspapers are courtesy of Kelly Centra, Mountaintop, Letterkenny. Give the gift of sport from Brian McCormick Sports and Leisure, Main Street, Letterkenny. Brooks Footwear, the brand that fits your feet. The perfect Christmas gift. Look the part, play the part. Click bmcsports.ie.
New this week in Home Store and More. All office chairs and all occasional chairs are half price. That's right, half price. But better hurry, because when all our half price office chairs and all our half price occasional chairs are gone, they're definitely gone. So order online before 2 p.m. today for next day delivery, or drop by your local Home Store and More. Home Store and More. A happy home.
Hi, Gráinne Gallina here, brand ambassador for iMotors in Donegal. I just wanted to take this opportunity to wish you a Merry Christmas and to thank everyone for their custom with iMotors throughout the year. Have a great Christmas and a Happy New Year. iMotors look forward to welcoming customers old and new in the new year. And don't forget, we are also taking orders for your new 221 Kia and Nissan.
The award-winning Genesis Aesthetics and Skincare Clinic Udor offers the most advanced skincare treatments for men and women, treating conditions such as acne, skin tags, rosacea and scarring. As a qualified aesthetics practitioner, Mary Ferry offers a range of anti-aging treatments including dermal fillers, thread lifts, profilo, skin boosters, microneedling and LED light therapy. Hair and makeup also available. Download the Genesis Salon app today or call 07495 325 75.
If you're changing some furniture before Christmas, there's still time at McGinley's Furniture in Letterkenny. See the selection of sofas, living room, dining room and bedroom furniture in stock and available for Christmas delivery, with a great choice of styles and colours. For a beautiful addition to your home, visit McGinley's Furniture on the Joe Boner Link Road in Letterkenny or see mcginleysfurniture.com.
Last Saturday, one lotto player won €1 million. €1 million! Because with the lotto jackpot capped, smaller prizes are, well, bigger. So with bigger prizes and €19 million still up for grabs, make sure to pick up your lotto ticket today. The National Lottery. It could be you. Play responsibly. Play for fun.
Christmas is covered at Letterkenny Shopping Centre. Free parking, shopping and Santa under one roof. Letterkenny Shopping Centre, bringing you the time at
15 and a half minutes past 9 o'clock.
The 9 till noon show, sponsored by McGee's Chemist, Main Street, Letterkenny, with a great range of digital cameras, camcorders and binoculars for Christmas. McGee's, the photographic experts, where the best costs less.
Let's go to South Inishowen, where concern has been expressed about 2 school bus stops for children there. Joined on the line by Shauna, who's a concerned parent from the area. Shauna, good morning.
Good morning, Donal. How are you?
Very, very well indeed, thank you. Shauna, parents concerned about these 2 school bus stops. Tell us what the situation is there.
So the situation is we have 2 bus stops. One is opposite a quarry and the other one is at a T-junction. And we have 19 pupils between the 2 bus stops. And we have no lights, no pavements. And as the parents are waiting with the children in the morning and the evening, we are parked in a line one after the other in the cars, and the cars are going back that far at the junction. The last car is practically out at the white line on the main road, and it is just an accident waiting to happen.
And of course, we're at the point now in December where, I mean, realistically speaking, it's not really starting to get bright until well after 8 o'clock, and it's probably almost dusk when the children are being picked up in the morning.
Yeah, and in the evenings then when we're listening, it's falling dark as well. So we're sitting with our hazard lights on in the cars, And I'm sure there's many of your listeners would pass us in the morning and, you know, can see the danger clearly. And you can't leave the children standing at the side of the road because it's so dark, or if it's raining, or, you know, so we have, you know, we wait with them in the car, but we have our hazard lights on and we're pulled in as far as we can go. But because there's so many children at the bus stops now, there's so many cars then sitting waiting with them in the cars, and we're just being pushed back and back up along the side of the road, and it's so dangerous. There's it's a very busy junction. There's lorries coming down, and there's cars coming down at speed that aren't expecting to see us there, or to see as many of us there. And as the children are getting off in the evenings, the cars are coming from both directions at high speed, and there's dips in the road where it's completely blind, and they wouldn't see the children crossing.
Have you had discussions with Bus Éireann about the situation there? Is there anything they can do to help?
There is, but they're not willing to help. We have emailed them and we have put our case forward and told them the amount of children that we have at these bus stops. We have asked our concerns over, you know, the danger, the amount of traffic, the speed of the traffic, the lack of lights. And their response to us was that it would deem it would incur too much cost in additional mileage and time. And we have an actual proposed route that would take all 19 children off the main road and take all the danger away from the main road, that we actually use for our national school children bus route. And it's exactly the same bus driver that comes after he leaves the secondary school children to school. He just does a U-turn, comes back and takes the primary children up this route that we're asking him to do for the secondary school.
Could it be that part of the problem is if the alternative route is longer, then it may be a situation that the children going to the secondary school may have to be picked up even earlier, and that could exacerbate the problem then, because it will be even darker in winter?
No, it's not that much. It doesn't take that much longer. It's literally an extra mile, and it's just a loop. So instead of going along the main road where all the traffic is, we're asking them to turn up at the quarry, or up past opposite the quarry, just drive along the back road and then turn and go back onto the main road. It's a mile at most, and it would all of the children are from the one area, but it's an up back roads, and it's not a case for it being any more convenient to any of the parents. It's just a case of safety. We have to get them off the main road.
Is there anything that can be done by the Department of Education? Because ultimately Bus Éireann are operating these school bus runs on behalf of the department. So in many ways it should be the department calling the shots here.
Well, we asked the schools, the secondary schools, and they said that they have no control over the bus, that it was down to Bus Éireann. And I have looked myself. It says that Bus Éireann, they have a standard to go by, and like one of their other reasons was that it's as safe as any other school bus stop in the county, which isn't saying it's safe, it's just saying it's as safe. You know, it's not in any way. I mean, any road user can see the danger there morning and night.
We know that Deputy Padraig McLaughlin made inquiries on your behalf, and he was told in relation to the safety of the pick-up and drop-off points, 2 Bus Éireann inspectors visited the area, observed the loading and unloading of the pupils at the junctions, and they've deemed the points to be suitable and as safe as many others on the school transport scheme. That's a perspective that you don't agree with, obviously.
No, I mean, if anybody came out, the bus inspectors, they were out. They didn't meet with any of the parents. They followed behind the bus and watched the children getting on and off. They didn't, like, as soon as the bus drove off, they drove off after the bus. They didn't wait to see the children passing or to see the amount of traffic coming. They didn't look to see the amount of cars parked opposite the road. It's not even the case that it's Bus Éireann directly. It's just the safety of the stops. Like, whoever can help us, somebody needs to help us. We need to take that amount of traffic off the road in the morning. And those children, if we could just get them off the main road, that would be our issue solved.
And just to make sure I have the right junction in my head, as I understand it, the junction you're effectively talking about is if you're coming from Muff and turning left to go over to Bridgend and onto Derry or Letterkenny, it's that junction there you're talking about, isn't it?
It's that junction, yeah. And just before that, we have 2 bus stops. The first one, as you're heading from Muff towards Burnfoot, is just at a dip in the road, and there's quarry opposite. And this bus stop actually floods quite regularly. So the children are all standing there and the parents are parked up along the back road. And then as you go on then is actually my son's bus stop is at the T junction. Now your cars have come over that, that actual wee concrete island several times and gone into the wall where the children would get off the bus. It's just so busy in the morning. Obviously at that time of the morning there's a lot of people going to school, going to work. It's dark, and we're all sitting one after the other. And the fourth car, there's at least 4 cars every morning. And the fourth car is right up where it's nearly onto the white line on the road. And I myself have been in that situation. And there was a lorry coming down. The lorry had to go out around me and get back in to come down past the island. And it was just, you are genuinely frightened. And I have a younger child who sits in the back seat of the car. So if something was to go into the back of us, it's not just the pupils waiting on the school bus, it's the families in the cars, and it's whatever traffic that's coming down that road.
Yeah. A caller says, if you're looking to go onto a side road, where are all the cars going to park then? Because surely if you're going to side roads, there'll be even less room.
No, so I appreciate that, but the bus stop that we use for the national school bus is it's actually at a crossroads in the back road, so there is more space for the cars to park, but the children could actually stand safely and wait on the bus here, where the cars wouldn't have to, we wouldn't have to park them and wait with them right till the bus came. So there's actually a local house that's up off the road, like off the road a bit, where they could stand in along the side. And it would accommodate every one of those 19 children. It's not to say anybody can just walk out the door to the house. We will all have to travel to it. It's not for any convenience or anything, but it is much safer for every single one of them.
Right, so it'll be interesting to see if the campaign that you're launching bears any fruit. It does seem strange that the Bus Éireann inspectors haven't taken the perspective of actually sitting with the parents in one of the cars and actually walking to the area or travelling to the area with one of the children and actually seeing it from their perspective. It seems they're looking at it more from the bus's perspective than from the student's perspective.
Yeah, that's all they seem to kind of, was it safe for them to step onto the bus and step off the bus? They weren't thinking of once they're off the bus, they have to cross that road, or once they're sitting waiting on the bus. They have put down that it's on the parents for the safety for the pickup and the drop-off. But in all honesty, we have no choice. We don't feel safe sitting there, but we have no choice. There's nowhere else for us to go while we're waiting on them,
Yeah. I'm just wondering, would the Department of Education take an interest in this? I know Bus Éireann operates the service, but it operates the service on behalf of the department. Now, the question really is how much active involvement would the department take in actually planning a bus route and something like that? And it may very well be the department will say it's up to Bus Éireann to organise the route. That's nothing to do with us. That may well be the case, but it might be an interesting way of just doing it, just to contact the department and seeing if they would take a perspective on it. And I'm sure Deputy McLaughlin will take a look at that angle as well, because as we already know, he's been on to Bus Éireann on your behalf. Shauna, thanks for speaking to us this morning. It's a very interesting one, and we will be keeping a close eye on it, and please do brief us if there's any developments.
That's great. Thank you very much.
Shauna, thank you, and we wish you and all the other parents there all the best on that one. It does seem an issue, because it does seem that the actual question from the point of view of the inspectors is almost, is this safe for the bus, and is it safe for us as a company, rather than are the inspectors looking at it from the company's point of view rather than from the children's point of view? And again, there's utterly no question over the safety of the bus itself. There's no question over the driver, obviously. They're doing an absolutely professional job as directed, and there is absolutely no issue there. The problem is the actual conditions under which the children have to wait. Now, someone is also saying, it isn't sort of ideal to have cars in the area. No, it's not, but there's a sort of a catch-22 here, because what Sean is effectively saying is, we have to stay with the children in our cars because it's dangerous, and then maybe the danger is being slightly increased because of the fact that there are cars, but the cars are there because there is danger. And it's an interesting one. We wait to see with interest what's going to happen there. Connor says, I ordered food online at a pizza place in Donegal. When I went to collect it, I was shocked. There were around 17 customers waiting on food, age 14 to 30. Not one of them had a mask between them. If I hadn't my order paid for, I wouldn't have gone in. Who's policing these rules? From what I see, nobody is. Now, the pat answer is, it is the Garda's responsibility to police the rules. Realistically speaking, I mean, are Gardaí going to be called to a pizza vending area? Probably not. So then it's really down to someone working in the area, you know, to actually say. And unfortunately, very often what tends to happen is the people behind the counter are the ones on whom the responsibility falls. Now, if you're in a busy place producing food, and if you have around 17 customers waiting for food, to be honest, if you're working in that sort of a premises, you are working hell for leather to get the food out. And quite frankly, policing masks and looking after public health is probably not going to be top of the list of your priorities. That is the reality of the situation, I fear. Our sponsors are McGee's Chemist, and we will have our quiz a little bit later on. So do stick around for that. Right now we're going to take a short break. Back after these.
Things are deteriorating quickly here in DRC. It's now the biggest hunger crisis the world has ever seen, and 3.4 million children are on the brink of survival. Concerned staff are working around the clock, but we desperately need more supplies. Your gift will save lives. Visit concern.net and send life-saving food today. Thank you.
Christmas is coming and Foyleside is buzzing. A visit from Santa Claus awaits. From fashion to food to get you in the holiday mood, and even late night shopping with your mates. Grab your last minute gifts. That present you just can't resist. Make Christmas memories without the last minute blitz. Get festive at Foyleside.
The Christmas season is a time when the whole world feels joy, happiness and an overwhelming sense of love. Getting engaged at this time of year will make all the Christmases to come that little bit extra special when you remember the joy, happiness and the excitement of the year you got engaged. Check out McCullough's large selection of exclusive diamond engagement rings at the Letterkenny Shopping Centre and Main Street, Letterkenny, or online at ormccullough.com.
Show your appreciation for Donegal business this Christmas with Buy Donegal. Visit buydonegal.com to see a host of participating businesses and special offers to start your shopping list. To get involved, buy a product or service from a Donegal business and share on social media. Buy Donegal takes place from the 5th of November to the 31st of December. For more, visit buydonegal.com.
If you're aged 50 or over, it's time for your COVID-19 vaccine booster. Without one, you're more at risk of serious illness from COVID-19. Your booster will give you the best possible protection. When your booster is due, the HSC will send your appointment by text message. People in this group can also come to a walk-in vaccination clinic or contact a participating pharmacy or GP. Visit hsc.ie for clinic times and locations near you. From the HSC.
Presents? Check. Turkey? Check. Sprouts? Check. Home heating oil? Save time, money and stay cosy in a click with o'donnellfuels.ie. Get a faster, cheaper heating oil quote online at o'donnellfuels.ie and enjoy a warm, cosy home this Christmas. O'Donnell Fuels Crawley, fueling the festive season.
Oh, ho, ho! We're on the go! Ho, ho! Nolig! Hana!
The 9 till noon show, sponsored by McGee's Chemist, Main Street, Letterkenny. See all the magic of Christmas with McGee's online photo lab, open 24/7, delivered to your door or collect in store.
Read a very interesting article about post-Brexit Ireland and the need for everyone to have a long, hard look at where we are going, given the uncertainty of the post-Brexit world, not least in the border counties of Donegal, Derry and Tyrone. The article was written by Ray Bassett, who is a former Irish ambassador and is now looking toward becoming a member of Shannon Éireann. Delighted to say that Ray joins us on Zoom. Ray, good morning.
Good morning, Donal, and thank you for having me.
It is our pleasure, Ray. We'll talk about the Shannon ambitions in a few moments, but in terms of the post-Brexit world, Ray, you've given this a lot of thought, and obviously as someone who has experience in diplomacy as an ambassador, you've got a very interesting and unique perspective on this.
Yes, well, I was part of Bertie Ahern's team at the Good Friday talks, so I think a lot of the gains that were done then, particularly in British-Irish relations, have essentially been a victim of Brexit. And I think we've got to be very, very careful in maintaining those special links, because they're to the advantages of both Ireland and Britain. And, you know, stuff like the Nationality and Borders Bill threatens that, very close relationship between Ireland and Britain. I think it's an outworking number one, of Brexit, but secondly, the way we approached Brexit. And I think in retrospect, it would have been better if we had acted as a bridge between London and Brussels rather than they maybe being a cheerleader on one side, because our interest is having a good relationship with Brussels, but it's also having a very good relationship within these islands.
One of the perspectives is that in many ways the Irish government in Dublin is almost a bystander, that the issues and difficulties here are between the EU and the UK. Now, the Irish government says it'll do what it can, and Simon Coveney says he will do what he can, but what's being effectively put out by the government is, look, we're just on the sidelines here. Do you believe there can be a more proactive role for the Irish government?
Absolutely, and I think it's an indictment of us that there are discussions ongoing in London and in Brussels between David Frost, who's British, and between Marko Sektovic, who's Slovakian. And, we spent a long time trying to have control of our own destiny. And I really think that, we need to ask the European Union and the British to get people on this island much more directly involved in the negotiations, because it'll affect us more than anyone else, and particularly the people in the border area. If people make a mess of this, people will pay in and throughout the island of Ireland, but particularly in border areas, for any misstep or any thing that worsens relationship or makes, inter-island or between Ireland and Britain business and travel more difficult. So we're the ones with the most at stake in these negotiations, and I feel kind of frustrated that our people are sitting in Dublin and other people in Belfast, and they only have a very indirect input into these negotiations.
And the reality for many on the ground is that decisions are being taken on Brexit and the effects of Brexit that perhaps weren't foreseen. For instance, we heard yesterday from the KFO, the Gillybegs Fishers representatives, and they're effectively saying, look, there are big fisheries discussions taking place at the moment in Europe, and the reality is that they're going to be quite draconian temporary measures because there is not a finalised deal yet between the UK and the EU with regards to post-Brexit fishing, and the fleets that are going to lose out most as a result of those temporary short-term measures are the Irish fleets.
Well, that's true, and that's one of the reasons why I'm calling for a much more independent voice. I mean, if you look at the fishing disputes between Britain and the EU, our natural instinct is to be on the side of the British, because we're an island people, we're a coastal state. We believe that people should have a very big quota in their own waters. But at the same time, we're collateral damage when Michel Barnier went into the negotiations and tried to protect the French fishermen as much as possible. And the cuts on the European side fell disproportionately on Ireland. We took the highest cut of anyone ourselves in Germany, while the French fishermen interest, although they did take some cuts, was nothing like as severe as the Killybegs people. And I think that shows that, we're 1% of the vote in Brussels. And, this idea that everything that's good for Europe is good for Ireland isn't true. We've got to fight our own corner much more aggressive and a much more assertive way. Fisheries has been, if you look back since our accession, fisheries has been sacrificed all along the way. But, that was a trade-off for agriculture and various other things like that. Now with the cap being cut, we need to be more assertive in areas where we've taken the hits in the past.
The situation of the DUP is interesting because we've already seen Arlene Foster effectively ousted because of the ongoing situation. Paul Givan is currently the First Minister, but one gets the impression that Paul Givan is almost a dead man walking, that ultimately Jeffrey Donaldson is in the background and he's looking at the situation, and as we understand it, Jeffrey Donaldson intends becoming First Minister in the fullness of time. So we have a situation where you have a hardline DUP, but sort of it seems quite a weak DUP First Minister, and it seems from their point of view it's almost party is far more important than Assembly or Executive.
Well, the DUP are in a very difficult situation because Donal slightly queried that he may not be, even after the next election, the First Minister, because there's a good possibility that Sinn Féin will actually take that position. And Jeffrey Donaldson obviously doesn't want Paul Givan there and would like to move him. But given, he can't actually operate that at the moment. So I think Jeffrey Donaldson wants to sound very, very hardline, but he doesn't want to do anything which will do long-term damage. So with the Assembly, essentially coming to an end in March, I would expect that Jeffrey Donaldson will become much more hardline as it comes close to the end of the mandate for the Assembly. But I don't think he'll do anything which will destroy the Assembly in the longer term. He will want his own share of power, and he will hope that he gets first minister on it. But the DUP are leading the if you like to put it like that, the unionist charge against the protocol. And in many ways, it's a bit like the old Anglo-Irish agreement and the parades issue. What they're asking for doesn't seem to be achievable. I mean, even David Frost, who probably the most hardline in the British cabinet, has said that the protocol is going to stay. It may stay in a modified form. I mean, when I was writing and talking to some unionists, I said to them, you've done very well on this. In fact, you've helped us all by cutting down on the amount of red tape that was going on between Northern Ireland and Britain. But, it's time to declare victory. You're going to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. You got 80% of the requirements abolished. You should have said that was great, and we've shown our position. But if you go for the, as the old saying, if you go for the perfect and don't accept the good, they could lose. I think unionism is in a difficult state, and in some ways, as nationalists, and I regard myself as a nationalist, that we may have to, give them a hand to get them off the hook, but they have to get off the hook because they're not going to win this one.
But are they backing themselves into a corner? Because, I mean, on the one hand, you have the DUP is adopting this hardline position, adopting the old Thatcherite no, out. But on the other hand, you seem to have people like Michael Gove in the British cabinet, who isn't necessarily renowned for his sense of compromise, but Michael Gove seems to want to make a deal with the EU, seems to want to compromise. The cabinet seems to want to compromise. So you have a British cabinet which is moving more toward compromise. You've got a DUP in the Assembly who seems to be going more and more hardline.
That's true, Donal, and I think again it's an unwinnable situation. Sometimes unionism lacks horse sense. In knowing when to. George Mitchell during the negotiation said sometimes when unions got 80 or 90% of what they were asking for, they came out and shouted betrayal. And he said, as a senator from Maine, if I got 20% of what I got, I call it a victory. I think again we have to find a way to get them off this hook, because all we're going to end up is more alienation and more bad feeling. Now, I spent a lot of time in Belfast, and I don't think, in the Welders Club in Harlan and Wolff, over their pints, they're discussing the protocol. I think it's very, very much a thing within political unionism. But I think at the same time, if a whole community is there and feels very bad about that, we've got to help them in some way to get off that hook. But Donald, of course, their biggest weakness is that they can no longer speak for a majority inside Northern Ireland. The Alliance and the Nationalist parties have a majority in the Assembly. A majority of MPs at Westminster are not unionist. So it makes it much more difficult than the old days where they could paralyse Northern Ireland, where they could, they spoke for Northern Ireland. Now they speak for a part of Northern Ireland. So in many ways, they've got to recognise their own weakness and make a compromise. They're not in a position to force their own views on this issue.
The slight issue what you've said there, though, is, the unionist workers may not be discussing the protocol over the pints in the Harland and Wolff Social Club, but the reality is the protocol is what's being held up as sort of the big boogeyman that's going to threaten the union, the big boogeyman that's going to threaten their identity, and that's what caused rioting that we saw towards the beginning of the year. That's what caused all the problems when the protocol went from being a seemingly slightly obtuse treaty to a big threat to peace in Northern Ireland. And that wasn't, that may not have started with the pints in the Harland and Wolff Social Club, as it were, but that was certainly, it came from somewhere.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I think they've talked themselves into a frenzy on it. But I think in the end, they've got to realise that they're not going to essentially get their protocol totally abolished. So what they should do, and I criticised the European Union at the very start over the pedantic way they were implementing it. My impression, I'm talking to people inside the Irish government, is that the European Union have become very, very reasonable now, and they're making a load of compromise. And if there's a reasonable deal there that both sides can live with, the European Union has moved a fair amount, and the British government have moved a fair amount. I think it's up to unionism to sort of say, we'll push very hard, and I'm sure there's a few more compromises on areas like medicines and some of the checks, and particularly pets and things like that. There is a deal there. It's not going to be absolutely what the unions want, but it's a reasonable deal, and it's a deal which everybody can live with. And I think it's up to the head of the Jeffrey Donaldson those to show leadership and lead the people in a direction which is something that's achievable as opposed to something that is unachievable.
A very interesting perspective indeed. Let's speak briefly about your Shanada aspirations, because one would have thought if you've been so closely involved in diplomacy and politics over many, many years, maybe you'd be looking to take a break rather than getting involved in the Shanada at this stage.
Well, the reason I'm standing down really is that I've written and given out about the government, particularly on issues relating to Europe. And I feel that, an alternative point of view is not being put forward. An alternative point of view, which is that Ireland, I'm very pro-European, but I don't really want to go into a European federal state. I don't want a European army. I don't want, a centralized health system operating from Berlin, which decides they're going to mandatorily vaccinate people. I want to keep independence in Ireland. I also want us to have a much greater share of our fishing industry and areas like that. And so I decided to put myself up essentially to give people who think like me an opportunity to vote. And thankfully, there's quite a few voters in Donegal in this election, which I'm hoping to tap into. But it really is going to give an alternative point of view, because there's a tendency for us to groupthink and have an echo chamber in the Dáil, now with a few notable exceptions. And I just thought that if I'm giving out all the time and writing, put up or shut up. So I said I'd put up and give the people an opportunity. Whether I'm elected or not I hope I am elected, but at least I've said I've given people a chance to either agree or disagree with me.
Ray Bassett, thanks very much indeed for speaking
and
to us
this morning.
Donal. Thank you, it's been a pleasure. That's Ray, he's a former ambassador. He was on the Irish team at the Good Friday negotiations with Bertie Ahern way back in the day, and he is contesting the Shanada by-election, so an interesting one. Enjoy that conversation. Now, just a couple of your comments. Caller is asking, could we give a Carl service a mention? The Carl service in Carndonagh, it's taking place on the 17th of December. They had hoped that they could have an audience this year, but they're doing it online again because of case numbers in Inishowen. So because of COVID restrictions, the Inishowen Carl service is taking place online. It'll be in the Church of the Sacred Heart of Carndonagh on Friday, the 17th of December, which is next Friday. It can be watched online on churchmedia.tv/camera/parish of Carndonagh, or you can catch it on Christmas week on the Donagh Choir YouTube channel, and the Donagh Choir is organising that. Caller says, my mother died in hospital a year ago past in November. We've been onto the hospital on numerous occasions asking for the death certificate. We keep putting back, being told there's a backlog. Surely it can't be that long. We need this to be able to deal with her estate. More importantly, we need to be our own peace of mind to know what the hospital will actually be registering as her death. She went into hospital with one thing and contracted COVID. It's got to a stage now where we as a family are starting to fall out as we need things to be sorted, but without a death cert that cannot happen. Is anyone else experiencing the same delay? I am not aware of anyone. I certainly haven't heard of anyone experiencing the same delay, and I can tell you, caller, I do feel your pain. My own mother passed away in October of last year. Now thankfully she passed away in hospital, but there was no COVID involved, and there was no issues involved in that respect, so there was no question mark over what was going to be a cause of death. But we certainly have been organising her estate. My brother and sister are the executors, and from our point of view it's been relatively straightforward, in as much as that can be straightforward, and certainly the family are putting together, and I do absolutely appreciate that the last thing that you need during that process is tension, and I can absolutely see where you're coming from. Now, another a sort of a related question. A question came in last week. We've been contacted by a number of people saying they were refused visiting entry to Letterkenny University Hospital using the COVID recovery cert. Is it possible to get clarification? as to what's accepted for visitors to the hospital. Now, we've had a response from Celta. They say following new national guidance on visiting, visitors to all hospitals will be asked to produce their EU digital COVID certificate or HSE COVID-19 vaccination record or other proof of immunity at the entrance. Letterkenny University Hospital will accept a COVID-19 recovery cert or COVID-19 vaccination cert. Visitors may be asked to show some photo ID to prove that the proof of immunity is theirs. There are some exceptions from the requirement on compassionate grounds. There are separate arrangements in place for access to the maternity department for nominated support partners and for parents accessing the neonatal and paediatric departments. If patients or families have questions in relation to the visiting arrangements in place, they can contact the hospital directly to discuss the issue further. So that's the response that we've had from the hospital. Going to take a short break, back in a moment, and indeed we'll be staying with hospital issues and having a conversation with Councillor Jerry McMonigal.
The 9 till noon show, sponsored by McGee's Chemist, Main Street, Letterkenny. With all your perfume and aftershave presents this Christmas. McGee's, delivered to your door, or you can collect in store.
Is your water safe to drink? If your water tastes unpleasant or has a foul smell, it may be a sign that something is in your water. Brothers Tech Donegal provide a complete private well water treatment service using the best water treatment equipment to meet your needs. Or maybe you drilled a new well and the water isn't satisfactory. At Brothers Tech, their expert team will also service existing problematic systems. If you're concerned about the quality of your water, call Brothers Tech on 087 638 7057.
You'll find all the best toys at Foy's Ballybuffet. There's great value on all the latest toys, including ride-ons, bikes and bear go-karts, with new deliveries arriving every week. Shop online 24/7 at toysatfoys.com. Foy's can ship to your door with free delivery on all orders over €50. Shop local and find all your toys at Foy's Ballybuffet or online at toysatfoys.com.
Getting married? Don't leave it too late. Book with us today at the Groom's Room in Evolve Clothing, Letterkenny Retail Park.
Looking for an easier way to get your prescriptions filled? Look no further. With our new Brennan's Pharmacy app, you have a simpler, faster way to manage your prescription orders. Just download the free Brennan's Pharmacy app from Google Play or App Store, fill in a few simple details about yourself and your medicines, and you're all set. From prescription ordering, daily medicine reminders, to messaging our pharmacy team directly, it's all at your fingertips with our new Brennan's app. Like to know more? Why not call your local Brennan's Pharmacy today for more information? We're here for you.
This is no ordinary table. It's where Kerrygold makes magic. It takes humble spuds and gives them life. Little orange carrots become bronze casts of loveliness. A roast comes out here, a golden masterpiece. But the most important things we make here, the memories we make of one generation with another. And after 2 years low on magic, let's make more. Kerrygold, the making of together.
Whatever the weather this December, Letterkenny will bring a warm front to your shopping and great value for your pocket. Highland Weather Forecast, brought to you by Shop LK.
Variable cloud with sunny spells today. Some scattered showers. Highest temperatures 5 to 8 degrees Celsius. Light to moderate southwest breezes. Fresh along coasts. Mostly dry tonight with clear spells. Cloud pushing in from the Atlantic later. That'll bring some patchy drizzle toward dawn. Lowest temperatures 0 to plus 4 degrees Celsius with a touch of frost in places. Southwest winds freshening, becoming strong along coasts tonight. Tomorrow cloud will increase in the morning with patchy rain and drizzle at times. Breezy in fresh and gusty southwest winds. Strong in coastal areas with gales developing off northwest coasts. Highest temperatures tomorrow 8 to 10 degrees Celsius. And that's the way the weather forecast is looking. We will be doing our McGee's quiz, and that's always a big thing on this programme in the weeks before Christmas. That'll be coming up shortly after 10 o'clock. But before we do anything else, I'm going to go to Zoom and say a very good morning to Councillor Jerry McMonigal, who is the chair of the Joint Policing Committee in Donegal and is also on the HSE West Regional Forum, vice chair of that particular body. Jerry, good morning to you.
Good morning, Donal.
Councillor Jerry McMonigal, in terms of your brief, indeed, it sort of straddles both to a certain extent. The security staff situation at Letterkenny University Hospital is something that has been of concern to you, and you have a question mark over how many security personnel are on duty there.
Yeah, look, it's something that has been raised with me on a number of occasions, and there's been several incidents at the hospital over this last 2 or 3 years. And I raised it with the HSE around the personnel and the volume of personnel at the hospital in relation to security. And it was brought to my attention again at the beginning of December there. A member of the public contacted me to say that there had been an incident at St. Connell's, and that a member of the security personnel member of the hospital was injured, and as a result was off work, and the Gardaí were called, and someone may have been arrested. So from my own inquiries to date, that seemed to have happened. And there is someone off work, and it would suggest that there is one security personnel on at daytime and two in the nighttime hours. And I don't think that's sufficient to cover the large campus, which is Letterkenny University Hospital.
And the reality too is in these COVID times, security staff have very often become those who are monitoring people entering the building and looking at the COVID certs and keeping an eye on who is and who isn't allowed to move around the building freely, and that's an extra responsibility that they've taken on. And it seems that at the very time they're taking on this extra responsibility, they're also effectively falling rather than rising in number.
Yeah, and when you look at the responsibilities that they have the actual hospital itself, the St. Connell's campus, the psychiatric unit, the outpatients department down at Dr. Scally's, and indeed the hospice. So it's a vast area, and to expect one person to be the official security person to cover all of those different campuses is not good enough. And this has been raised with the CELTA and indeed Letterkenny University Hospital, and they were asked to review it and to increase the number of personnel as regards security. But to date, they haven't done that, and I'm calling them on again now to seriously look at this. We have the one member of staff who's apparently off work as a result of the latest incident, and we're expecting then that they would bring in porters and other members of staff to fill the gap. And I don't know if that's good enough. I don't know if they are properly trained. And I think that the pressures that the hospital are under, that the porters and other members of staff have enough to be doing.
Indeed. I mean, it isn't as though the porters are sitting around drinking tea waiting for something to do. They absolutely are not. The porters are flat to the mat doing their own jobs. Yeah,
and as every member of staff is in there. But as I go back, as I say, we've had several breaches of security since 2018, 2019. We've had the Gardaí called on a number of occasions to the emergency department. We've had them called out last week again. And I just beggars belief that for such a large campus and at several venues, that there is officially only one member of staff who's a security personnel. And we need the hospital needs to look at that again, and they need to ensure that the staff are looked after, that they're protected, and that they have ample support and going about their business.
Is this a budgetary issue that's being imposed from on high, be it CELTA or the HSE, or is this an issue that can be resolved at management level locally within the hospital?
Well, I think it's decision making by management, because we've and very much welcome it, the increased staff numbers at the hospital across all genres, with the exception of security, it seems. And then we have the vaccination centres where there's multiple private security firms there and personnel who are just directing people to their through the lines and to get the vaccinations, which again is very much welcome. But when we look at the actual workforce in the hospital and those employed, they look after the health and well-being of not only patients but also staff members and the security of the hospital. It seems that we have minimal staff available for that job. And it's also been brought to my attention, Donal, just in relation to the overall security of the hospital as regards access, and that there's a number of areas, very important areas like medical records, the pharmacy, the laboratory, which are not card keyed, and that anyone can just push the door and walk in. And I find that they're unbelievable that outside of the main building and out at the other sort of the added buildings, but very important buildings, that there isn't that added security. And one person or two cannot be expected to look after this big campus.
So maybe a full review of security, both in terms of personnel and in terms of procedure as well, necessary. I have to say, you mentioned the vaccination centre. I was there on Saturday afternoon, actually, at the old Optum building, and it was army personnel that were actually on duty within the building itself, and a great job they were doing as well. Councillor Jerry McMonigal, thank you very much indeed for speaking to us this morning.
Thank you, Donal.
Thank you. That's Councillor Jerry McMonigal there. He is Vice Chair of the HSC West Regional Forum and is also the Chair of the Donegal Joint Policing Committee. Just a few of your comments before we go for a break. And a caller has said, with regards to the school bus route, we have the same problem in the Finn Valley. We were told the bus stop would have to change to a further away spot instead of the bus going the same route as the national school bus, which would solve the problem. Also, if a shelter house were provided near the stop, it would relieve the need for cars to park alongside the road. That's what's done in the north. Bus stops everywhere in the countryside. Another caller says, my child is one of the 19 children referred to by Shona earlier. The danger around them every morning and evening is shocking. The simple solution would be for the bus to come down the back road, the same as the national school bus. For bus Éireann to use an excuse that it would take extra cost and mileage is shocking, to say the least. I'm absolutely disgusted. Another caller says, hi, I know the bus stop that woman is on about. There is a hidden tip and it's very dangerous. I myself was very close to hitting a child crossing that road. The shock of it put years on me, so says a very honest caller. Another caller very worried this morning at the bus stop at Birdstown Road. The amount of accidents that's happened over the years at these junctions is very large. It's a very dangerous area. Caller says, great to see our Donegal millionaire TDs will receive the 100% electricity discount. After all, they must be feeling the pinch in these trying times. Bless their little cotton socks, says a caller, with a tongue somewhat, I think, in cheek, or perhaps not. Well, it's just gone 2 minutes to 10 o'clock. We're going to take a short break. Coming up very shortly, we will have the news with Michaela.
The 9 till noon show, sponsored by McGee's Chemist, Main Street, Letterkenny, with a great range of digital cameras, camcorders and binoculars for Christmas. McGee's, the photographic experts, where the best costs less.
The National Inpatient Experience Survey is now underway. If you stayed a night or more in a public hospital during September this year, you will have received a letter by post asking you to participate in the survey. Sharing your experience with us will help us to improve the care our hospitals provide. For more information, visit yourexperience.ie. From the HSC, the Health Information and Quality Authority and the Department of Health.
Homeland Fuel offers, keeping you warm for less. 20 kg Super Therm, buy 5 bags, get 1 bag of hardwood logs free. 10 kg wood pellets, buy 10, get 1 free. Board Namona briquettes, buy 3 for €16. Shop in-store or online at homeland.ie.
Have your Christmas get-together in Dillon's Grill and Bar, Letterkenny. Choose the Christmas dinner menu, €29.50 per person, or Dillon's Christmas lunch menu, $21.95 per person. Dillon's Hotel in the heart of Letterkenny. Call 91-229-77.
At Christmas, it always feels so much better to give than to get. The best gift you can give this year is a vaccine to the most vulnerable people on our planet. UNICEF needs your support to deliver 3 billion vaccines. Go to unicef.ie to give a vaccine now, because it's not over for anyone until it's over for everyone. Let's give COVID the jab this Christmas. Visit unicef.ie.
Are you tired of waiting for treatment or surgery? Did you know you can receive immediate treatment across the border under the new NI planned healthcare scheme at potentially no cost? Donegal patients are still being treated with us at Kingsbridge Private Hospital Northwest post-Brexit. The process is easy and our dedicated team will help guide you through it. So why wait? Contact us today to find out how you can skip the waiting lists and receive treatment in Northern Ireland. Visit kingsbridgeprivatehospital.com, because life matters.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, I'm Michaela Clark with the news at 10 o'clock. A man in his 50s arrested as part of the investigation into the murder of Councillor Eddie Fullerton has been released without charge. Eddie Fullerton was shot dead at his home in Buncrana on Saturday, the 25th of May 1991. Gardaí say a file will now be prepared for the DPP. The rollout of vaccines to children aged 5 to 11 is expected to form part of an updated vaccination programme due to be announced this week. The over 40s are also set to be added to an accelerated booster plan amid fears over the Omicron variant. The government is hoping to have 1.5 million third doses administered by Christmas. However, its rollout has come in for criticism recently due to long delays at walk-in clinics. Meanwhile, over 30s in Northern Ireland who have had a second dose of a COVID vaccine 3 months ago can get a third dose from today. The booster rollout is being ramped up across the UK over fears of the Omicron variant, with the British Prime Minister warning being double jammed is simply not enough to stop it spreading. People in the north must also show proof of a negative COVID test or vaccination to get into nightclubs, pubs or restaurants from today. Northern Ireland First Minister Paul Givan is appealing for people to come forward for the vaccine.
This is the single most impactful measure that you can take to help prevent serious illness from the coronavirus and then potential hospitalisations that put pressures on our health service.
Serious concern has been raised over what's been described as a severe lack of security staff on the grounds of Letterkenny University Hospital. It comes following an incident at the St Connell's campus earlier this month, which resulted in an arrest and a member of staff being injured. It's understood that there is only one member of security staff on duty during daytime hours, and they have to service Letterkenny University Hospital, St Connell's Hospital and respond to calls if needed at the outpatients department at Scally Practice. This increases to 2 at night, but there are worries around staff safety in the event of a major incident. Councillor Jerry McMonigal says the hospital is already stretched and says there needs to be an urgent review.
Staff are considerably worried about this, and they don't believe that there's enough staff there. Members of the public witnessed the latest incident and brought it to my attention that a member of staff had been attacked. I'm asking the hospital now to look at this seriously. It's just not good enough, and it needs to be boosted, and there needs to be more security personnel appointed at Letterkenny University Hospital.
Donegal County Council is being urged to engage as a matter of urgency with the government's Shared Island Unit with a view to accessing Brexit adjustment funding for Donegal and the North West region. A motion is to be discussed at today's reconvened monthly council meeting, which is currently ongoing. It is being tabled by Councillor Cian Brogan, who says in the context of the North West cross-border group, there is a lot of very important work being done, and he says it's important that Donegal is seizing every opportunity that offers.
We're a huge county. There's many challenges for us here, but there's also opportunities for us as well going forward. So it's important that we start that engagement now at an early stage, and we demonstrate to government and to the department that we as a council are eager to be part of any opportunities that may present themselves, because there's huge investment needed in many areas of our piers and harbours and indeed agriculture, but also the whole area of incubation and business development as well. We need to, at an early stage, get in there.
Weather now variable Clyde with sunny spells today and some scattered showers. Highest temperatures of 5 to 8 degrees. That's all from Highland Radio News for now. We'll be back with an update again at 11 o'clock. Until then, good morning. The obituary notice is for this Monday morning, December the 13th. The death has occurred of Mary Arnold, née Dorian, Mina Cahan, Inver, County Donegal. Funeral arrangements to be confirmed later. The death has taken place of John Patton, late of 50 Ballycolman Road, Strabane. Private family cremation in Lakelands Crematorium on Wednesday afternoon at 4 o'clock. Donations in lieu of flowers please to Woodmount Nursing Home Residents Comfort Fund, Kev Quigley Funeral Directors. The death has taken place of Anna Doherty, née McGuyan, late of 12 Collins Walk, Strabane, and formerly of the Diamond, Lifford. Funeral leaving her son Paul's home at 46 Ballycolman Road, Strabane on Thursday morning at 9:30 for Requiem Mass in St Mary's Church, Melmount at 10 o'clock. Interment afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. Donations in lieu of flowers please to the Alzheimer's Society, Kev Quigley Funeral Directors. The house is private to family and friends only please. The Requiem Mass can be viewed live via the parish webcam. The death has taken place of Katie McGarry, Dunlewy and formerly of Brunlack, Gidor. Her remains are reposing at her late residence. Funeral arrangements to be confirmed later. House private to family, close friends and neighbours, please. The death has taken place of Rosemary McDermott, Greenhill, Malin. Her remains are reposing at her home. Funeral from there tomorrow at 12 noon, going to the Church of the Sacred Heart, Carndonagh, for Mass at 12:30. Interment afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. House private to family and close friends, please. The death has taken place of Sheila Dennis Boyle, Balnacarrick, Duherry. Her remains are reposing at her late residence, with rosary tonight at 9 o'clock. Funeral Mass at 12 noon tomorrow in St Bridget's Church, Letchermack Ward, with interment afterwards in Kilbreed Cemetery. Family flowers only. Donations in lieu of desire to RSK Door, care of any family member or Sean McGlynn, Funeral Director. The death has taken place of Josephine McGonigal, Letcher, Culdaff. Her remains are reposing at her home. Funeral from there tomorrow morning at 10:15 for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass in St Patrick's Church, Clay Malin, followed by burial afterwards in the adjoining graveyard. Family flowers only, please, or donations if desired to the Donegal Hospice, care of any family member. Family, friends and neighbours welcome. The death has taken place of James Craig, 3 Swilly View, Inch Island. His remains are reposing at his residence. Funeral tomorrow morning, leaving his home at 10:15, going to Our Lady of Lourdes Church, Inch, for Requiem Mass at 11 o'clock. Interment afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. Family time, please, from 11 p.m. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu of desired to Buncrana Community Hospital Patients Comfort Fund, care of any family member or Sean Murphy, Funeral Director. The death has taken place of Brendan Loughery, 34 Eden Terrace, Strabane, formerly of Lansdowne Park at Ballycolman Avenue, Strabane. Funeral leaving his nephew Paul Loughery's home, 16 Peacock Road, Glebe, Sion Mills, tomorrow morning at 9:15 for Requiem Mass in St Mary's Church, Melmount at 10 o'clock. Interment afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. Donations in lieu of flowers, please, to Melmount Manor Residents Comfort Fund, care of Quigley Funeral Directors. House private to family and friends only, please. The Requiem Mass can be viewed live via the parish webcam. The death has taken place of Johnny Dugan, Old Town, Fulcara. His remains are reposing at his late residence. Funeral Mass in Christ the King Church, Gorta Hark this afternoon at 1 o'clock, with burial afterwards in the adjacent cemetery. The funeral mass can be viewed on MCN Media and on the Kieran Rorty Funeral Director Facebook page. House private to family, close friends and neighbours. The death has occurred of Maureen Green, Heatherfield House, Grange, Inch Island. Requiem Mass this morning at 11 o'clock in Our Lady of Lourdes Church, Inch, followed by interment in the adjoining cemetery. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu of desire to the Oncology Unit, Letterkenny University Hospital and the Donegal Hospice, care of any family member or Murphy Funeral Directors. Maureen's funeral will be recorded and streamed later in the day on the Inishowen Funeral Services Facebook page. And the death has occurred in Hammersmith, London, of Sister Maura Mary Doherty, formerly of Derryveigh, Churchill and Drumcondra, Dublin. Sister Maura's funeral mass will take place tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock in Hammersmith, London. A memorial mass will be celebrated in St Colmkill's Church, Glendowen at 7 o'clock tomorrow evening and can be viewed on churchservices.tv. For more details, including any family health guidelines for wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
The 9 till Noon Show, sponsored by McGee's Chemist, Main Street, Letterkenny. See all the magic of Christmas with McGee's online photo lab, open 24/7, delivered to your door or collect in store.
Ah, Christmas. A time of caring, sharing and compromises. Like deciding which presents make your list or which in-laws you're going to for dinner. But with OnPost Mobile, there are no contracts, no bills and no compromises. Just unlimited calls, texts and a whopping 50 gigabytes of 4G data with 99% population coverage. All for only €15 a month, and you get the first month free when you switch. Switch to OnPost Mobile today and shop our range, including the Samsung A02s from $129.95 at onpost.com/mobile or at your local post office. OnPost Mobile, for your world. €15 unlimited available for new customers. Fair usage policy applies. For terms and conditions, see onbus.com/mobile.
You're welcome back to the second hour of the 9 till noon show on Highland Radio. It's Donal Kavanagh with you on the show this morning. Caller says, it makes no sense to me how a carol service can't go ahead in a church, yet a wedding of 250 guests can go ahead. When will these restrictions make sense? Now, I think in fairness, it does need to be said that in some cases the decisions are made locally by people themselves not to go ahead, and decisions are made by individuals. I'm not sure. My understanding is certainly religious services at this point in time are continuing, and there isn't, to my knowledge, a restriction on religious services. So the carol service might have gone ahead, but my understanding is that the decision was taken in the interests of the health of the community by the choir themselves and by the church itself. So it's not necessarily they can't have it with an audience. They have chosen not to have it with an audience in the interest of public health, and I think that needs to be recognised and indeed applauded. It's the 9 till noon show. As we said, if you want to make contact and give us some of your comments and your perspectives, you can call us on 074 9125,000, 0035 374 9125,000 if you're outside of the dialing area. We're available via WhatsApp and text on 086 60 25,000, at Highland Radio on Twitter, Highland Hub on Facebook. Indeed, we are being broadcast live as well on Facebook and on the Highland Radio YouTube channel. If you want to watch the programme, you get to see me in all my glory. That's the downside. But you do get to see the Zoom conversations and get to see the contributors on that one. And that's maybe the upside of that particular option. And, of course, you can listen to us online as well on highlandradio.com. More and more ways to keep in touch with what's happening across the Northwest by listening to Highland Radio. It's 13 minutes to 10. We're going to take a short break. Before we do that, it's time for the bingo numbers. So I am going to invite you to grab your books, grab your pens, eyes down, and we'll hand you over to Canis.
It's time for NCBI Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Monday the 13th of December. You're playing on the green sheet. The reference number is S6. It's game number 50. The numbers are 27, 60, 64, 44, 39, 71, 75, 63, 4, and finally 89. Phone your claim to 9104833 before 8 tonight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your NCBI bingo information at highlandradio.com.
Give the gift of sport from Brian McCormick Sports and Leisure. Footwear sports brands for sports people. Hoka, Asics, New Balance, Brooks and On Cloud. Sporting gifts for Christmas. Click on bmcsports.ie.
Homeland Fuel offers, keeping you warm for less. 40 kg premium doubles or easy flame coal, $16.99. Buy 10, get 1 free. Hardwood logs, 2 bags for only €10. Flow gas, £25 gas cylinder, only €25.99. Shop in store or online at homeland.ie.
Tommy Fleming brings his 30th anniversary tour to the Millennium Forum Dairy on Friday 25th of February. Tommy with his full band will perform all his favourites from the past 30 years. Booking now on millenniumforum.co.uk or from the box office 04871 264455. Tommy Fleming's 30th anniversary tour at the Millennium Forum, February 25th.
Ooh, feast your ears on this lot. Irish Oakham turkey joint with delicious pork, sage and onion stuffing. And why not throw in some yummy festive sides? Ooh, this dessert takes the crown. The sticky toffee pudding crown with salted caramel sauce and Madagascan vanilla custard. Someone's going to be very popular this Christmas. This is not just Christmas food. This is M&S Christmas food. In store from the 19th of December.
Forward Emphasis International, based in Mallinhead, are actively recruiting for customer service advisors with both permanent remote working and hybrid opportunities available. Experience in contact centres or insurance services is desirable but not essential, as full training is provided. Fully funded financial services qualifications delivering attractive career path opportunities are available. Please visit their website www.forwardemphasis.ie or apply via their careers page.
Christmas is covered at Letterkenny Shopping Centre. Free parking, shopping and Santa under one roof. Letterkenny Shopping Centre, bringing you the time at...
And the time is 16 minutes past 10 o'clock.
Chanel, Flowerbomb, Lancôme, Giorgio Armani, Paco Rabanne, Hugo Boss. Where else but at McGee's Chemist this Christmas? Sponsors of the 9 till noon show.
We will be having our McGee's quiz a little later on in this hour, but now I want to move on to something completely different and something rather horrific. Details are beginning to emerge of an attack on Friday night in the early hours of the morning of Saturday, actually, in which an 82-year-old woman and her 18-year-old granddaughter were attacked in Inishowen. I'm joined on the line by Councillor Rena Donaghy. Rena, good morning.
Good morning, Donal. How are you?
I'm very well indeed. Rena, what we're beginning to hear about this incident is particularly shocking. Tell us, as you understand it, what happened.
Donal, this was, the only way I could describe this is a cowardly and vicious, brutal attack on a widow woman in her 80s and her teenage grandchild in their home at 4:10 on Friday night, Saturday morning, while they lay asleep in their bed in a country house in a rural part of the country. It would be near anybody that knows the Fullerton Pollen Dam. It's in that area. They were a very, very easy target. A widow woman, as I say, in her 80s, 2 females asleep in their bed. The back window was broken in and the perpetrators came in. I know these people terribly well. They're decent, respectable people, the salt of the earth, really. Very well thought of in the community. People that wouldn't be bothering anybody. The perpetrators stayed in the house from after 4 till 5:45 in the morning, which was a long, long time. They totally ransacked every part of the house. Totally ransacked it. I visited the family on Saturday evening. Now, obviously, they're visibly shaken and traumatised. Very, very serious threats were made to kill them. It was really one of the most serious attacks that I've ever heard of. It was shocking, absolutely shocking to think that people could come into people's homes and do what they did and make the threats that they made. It was really, really, really horrifying. So obviously Gardaí investigations are ongoing, and anyone that has any information or detail regarding this cowardly, despicable act should contact the local Gardaí.
The fact that these people spent the guts of an hour and a half in the house is frightening in itself.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, the people just thought they were going to be murdered. It was terrible. And it was awful.
Do we know how many people were in the house involved in that attack?
Yeah, there was 2 in the house. And there was a car. The car didn't come into their premises. They live a laneway off the main road. So the car just drove up and down the road, waiting on the others to come out. It didn't actually come into their yard.
So obviously, if anyone local noticed that car, and it may well be that someone looked out a window, saw the car, didn't think too much about it and went back to their bed, but maybe now they could help join those thoughts. It could be a really vital piece of information.
Absolutely, absolutely.
In terms of the family themselves, I mean, you know, I'm sure they and the Gardaí are going to be assessing what, if anything, was taken. Do we know if they have lost anything now? The most important thing, obviously, is that they have come out of this physically, if not mentally unharmed. In terms of loss, I mean, has much been taken that we know of?
Yeah, they did take some stuff with them. It's not known exactly yet what they have taken, but yes, they did take some stuff with them.
And we know that the 82-year-old was assaulted in terms of she was pulled by the hair. The assault hopefully didn't go any further than that. They weren't physically abused. That's
right. She was put out of her bed, made get out of her bed, and she was dragged by the hair then from the room. Yeah, it was horrific.
In terms of the investigation, as you said, we're hopeful that people will speak to Gardaí if they have any information, and indeed our community Garda slot will be on the show tomorrow after the 10 o'clock news at this time, and one would presume that this is going to feature on that as well, and we'll get more details from Gardaí. But for the meantime, I mean, all we can say is our thoughts are with this 82-year-old woman and her 18-year-old granddaughter, and hopefully both do make a recovery from this, physically perhaps unharmed, but mentally, I mean, this is a trauma that's going to stay there for some time.
Yeah, absolutely. And these perpetrators need to be got. This can't be allowed to go on or happen to anyone else in the community. It's just unthinkable what happened.
Councillor Rita Donaghy, thank you very much indeed for speaking to us this morning.
Thank you, Donal. Thank you.
That's it's a horrific story. 82-year-old woman and her 18-year-old granddaughter in a home isolated area down a laneway in the Illies area of South Inishowen, close to the Fullerton Pollen Dam. That's the incident that happened. Now let's move on to just a piece of information. Actually, Donegal County Council want to advise motorists that stop-go traffic controls will be in operation on the Dreenan Road, Ballabafay. Today, the road will then be closed tomorrow to facilitate the removal of a dangerous tree, with alternative access available via the Dreenan Bridge. So there will be stop-go lights in place around about that area today, and then tomorrow that road will be closed for a time to facilitate the removal of that tree, with alternative access available via the Dreenan Bridge. Now, we were speaking about a break-in in the South Inishowen area in the Illies. We now have news of a break-in at a caravan, in a number of caravans indeed, in the Malin Head area, joined on the line by Michelle. Michelle, good morning.
Good morning, Donal.
Michelle, tell us about the break-ins that you and your family have been affected by.
Yeah, it was a site in Malin Head, Clert. Not well known to a lot of people, but an absolutely beautiful piece of Donegal. My daughter, myself, we all have caravans there. 9 vans was attacked on the early hours of Thursday morning, and substantial damage. Left the elements, like we'd just come out of Storm Barra. The vans could have been completely destroyed, but a lot of things was taken. I don't know what everybody had stolen, but a lot of stuff was stolen out of the vans.
And I mean, things from fishing gear, PlayStations, TVs, phones. I mean, a lot of important items that were in those caravans, all taken.
Yeah, all taken. But at the end of the day, things can be replaced. It's just the thought that maybe the vans could have been destroyed was more. And listening to that last story, God bless that family. Lucky nobody was on the vans as well.
And as you say, we were coming out of Storm Barra, so I'm sure people were going to check the caravans to see if there was any damage caused by the storm. The last thing they probably expected to find was that it had actually been broken into and had lost possessions.
Yeah, every van, the main door was smashed in. Every van was done exactly the same and completely ransacked inside. I'd actually been down the weekend to my own van and actually left it on Monday because of Storm Barra coming on, and the weather was substantial,
Michelle, hopefully there'll be some movement in this, and at least some of those possessions can be retrieved. Gardaí are investigating, obviously, and you'll be hopeful anyone with information or anyone with some perspective they can offer on this will make contact with them.
Oh, 100%. Anybody knows anything at all to come forward and get in contact with the Gardaí in Buncrana, and hopefully they find whoever done it, because it's not fair that people have to work hard to maintain one home, but work hard doubly to maintain 2.
So, your daughter's van was just one of 8 vans in total that actually have been broken into over the course of that period over the 8th and 9th in the Malin Head area there.
It was a group of vans that are situated together, facing straight out, most scenic view, facing straight out to Ballyliffin, Malin Head, that direction.
Yeah.
And just a group of vans was together,
Michelle, thanks indeed for speaking to us, and hopefully we'll be able to get some positive news on that. And again, as I said earlier when we were speaking to Councillor Donaghy, the Garda Community Garda slot is on the programme just after 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, and I'm sure this incident will be discussed by them, and they'll be putting out a special appeal on that. But in the meantime, Michelle, we wish you all and your daughter well, and you take care.
Thank you very much, Donal. Take care now.
And you too. That's Michelle there, and those vans broken into in the vicinity of Malin Head, and that happened on the 8th and 9th of December, just as we were coming out, as they said, of Storm Barra. I noticed an interesting one, and a lot of talk about the impact of new COVID restrictions on the hospitality sector. I noticed with interest a piece of social media put out by Donegal Key West at the weekend. For the first time in 21 years in business, we had 0 customers in the restaurant. The hospitality sector has been decimated in the past 21 months. If anyone is in any doubt about how bad things are, this is the reality. And, it is frightening to think that we have a really popular restaurant and a very good restaurant in this county had no customers on one night. And that really is an indication as to the seriousness of the COVID impact on us. Caller says it's a crying shame that someone has got injured at their work for the lack of management not putting enough security personnel on days. It doesn't stand to reason that one person can cover the campus. Shame on management for letting this happen. Letterkenny deserves better. Another caller says, well, they gave away the parking to a private group and they're making plenty from that. That could pay for security if it's that badly needed. An interesting comment there from a caller. We're going to have our McGee's quiz very shortly. First of all, we're going to take a short break.
If you're aged 50 or over, it's time for your COVID-19 vaccine booster. Without one, you're more at risk of serious illness from COVID-19. Your booster will give you the best possible protection. When your booster is due, the HSE will send your appointment by text message. People in this group can also come to a walk-in vaccination clinic or contact a participating pharmacy or GP. Visit hse.ie for clinic times and locations near you. From the HSE.
At Smith's Daleside, our range of high-energy beef diets will give you increased daily live weight gain and quicker finishing times. Talk to our sales team at Smith's Daleside about our range of beef feeds on 074 9171 300.
Dreaming of the perfect gift this year for your someone special? Why not give the gift of choice with the McElhenney's gift card? From luxury jewellery to designer clothing, your perfect Christmas gift awaits. Open this Sunday from 11 to 6 or shop online with free next day delivery at mcelhenneys.com.
Click and Collect is now available at your nearest Tesco. Get your shopping freshly clicked and freshly picked, ready for you to park and pick up outside the store. Shop online and book your slot for free today at tesco.ie. Tesco. Every little helps.
Give the gift of travel this Christmas with a voucher from Atlantic Travel in Letterkenny. Valid for 5 years, vouchers can be used for sun holidays, honeymoons or city breaks. They can also go towards cruises, ski and camping holidays, Disney holidays or any travel service that Atlantic offer. Call 9126193 or pop into Atlantic Travel on Oliver Plunkett Road, Letterkenny.
Cases of COVID-19 are high, and we all know to stay safe by reducing contacts, getting vaccinated and boosted, wearing masks, keeping distance, opening windows, cleaning hands, and using antigen tests appropriately. Antigen tests are recommended for use if you are regularly socializing with people from other households, because many people who have COVID-19 show no symptoms. Antigen tests can help identify these hidden cases. Learn more at gov.ie/antigen tests. If you have symptoms, do not socialize. Stay at home, self-isolate, and get a PCR test. Brought to you by the Government of Ireland.
Think outside the box with your photos this Christmas for canvas prints, mugs and calendars at mcgees.ie. McGee's Chemist Letterkenny, sponsors of the 9 till noon show.
You always know it's Christmas when there are goodies being given away on this programme by McGee's, and this is the time. We have a very special competition running all this week on the 9 till noon show with a rather splendid hamper to be won at the end of the week and very good daytime prizes as well. And for more details on what you can win, let's hand you over to the wonderful John Breslin.
This week on the 9 till noon show, we've got a fantastic hamper worth over €500 to be won, courtesy of McGee's Chemist in Letterkenny. It contains a Lancôme Christmas hamper, a blank canvas luxury advent calendar gift set, a Be Perfect iconic essential set, a bottle of Chanel's Bleu de Chanel for men, and a bottle of Victor and Rolf's Flower Bomb for women. Also, a 20 by 16 inch gallery wrapped canvas, so you can have your favourite photo wrapped in canvas ready to hang on the wall. 5 daily qualifiers will be in the draw on Friday. Our qualifiers will also win a prize each day, and today's will win a bottle of Chanel's No. 5 Eau de Parfum spray for ladies. The question is, the movie Miracle on 34th Street is based on a real-life department store in New York. What is it? To enter, text the word HI followed by your answer and then your name and address to 53131 or from the north to 84555. Entry will cost 30 cent or the sterling equivalent plus your operator's standard charge. McGee's Chemist in Letterkenny and McGee's.ie with loads of great present ideas for Christmas.
Thank you, John. So there you have the details. That's our McGee's quiz, a question every day during the week. Today's question, as John said, the Miracle on 34th Street movie is based on a real-life department store in New York. What is it? To answer, text HI followed by your answer and your name and address to 53131 or 84555. If you're texting from the north, entries will call 30 cent or the sterling equivalent plus your operator's standard charge. Now, time for some music. I want to dedicate this to Sean McDevitt of Glenswilly, whose birthday is today. Miss celebrating in Boston, raising one here, celebrating good times, and that one comes from Dale. And seeing as it's Christmas and we're into the Christmas spirit all this week, I'm going to use my time on the show to play some of my favourite Christmas songs. And this is perhaps my favourite of all.
They said there'll be snow at Christmas. They said there'll be peace on earth. But instead it just kept on raining. A veil of tears for the virgin birth. I remember one Christmas morning, a winter's light and a distant choir, and the peal of a bell and that Christmas tree smell. Eyes full of tinsel and fire. They sold me a dream of Christmas. They sold me a cyanide. They told me a fairy story till I believed in the Israelite. And I believed in Father Christmas. And I looked to the sky with excited eyes. Then I woke with a yawn in the first light of dawn. And I saw him through his disguise.
That's Greg Lake, ex of Emerson, Lake and Palmer, and I believe in Father Christmas. Possibly my favourite Christmas song ever, actually. Love that one. Now, we're going to go to Zoom, and we're going to go to Michael Doherty, the PRO of the Micah Action Group. Michael, good morning.
Good morning, Donal.
Michael, you gave an update last night as to where the Micah campaign is, and since the announcement by Darragh O'Brien of the revised redress scheme that he's putting out as a 100% redress scheme, a number of questions have been left with us, and the main one really being the role of the SCSI, the Charter Surveyors of Ireland, and exactly what their role will be in setting the per foot rate, and most importantly of all, whether that per foot rate will be a sliding one or not in terms of the scale. Still a lot of questions there, still a lot of clarifications needed, it seems.
Yeah, well, I think, this, as we all know now, the sliding scale was slipped in at the very last minute, much to everyone's surprise. So it was talked about absolutely back during the working group days, and it was at the insistence of the Housing Department, where they believed that there should be economy of scale based on house size. They believed that there should be also a discount on the SCSI number because of what they call betterment. In other words, if you're building a house today, you have to build it to 2021 regulations. It's all your air to water systems and airtight houses and all this type of thing. Whereas that would be seen as now a better standard than when we maybe built our houses 20 years ago. So anything over and above the standard of 20 years ago, the Housing Department insisted that we would pay for that ourselves. They would see that as betterment, and they weren't prepared to fund that through the public purse. So we did have that to take into account, and we're told that's what it would be. And then there was other aspects as well around foundations that were included but they didn't believe was appropriate. And that's something that we obviously disputed as well. But long story short, the housing agency then put together numbers that we were just told would be pertinent as far as they were concerned. We never, as a working group or as homeowners within the working group, suggested numbers or accepted numbers. The numbers were what the numbers were. But what was very clear then, shortly after all of that, at the end of September, the first time that numbers started to come through then from the County Council showing what the real costs were, which was €150 a square foot, then there was no way that we were accepting even the 138, which was the SCSI number, not talk about an imposed sliding scale after that. So it was rejected outright.
The Minister putting a lot of store in the revisions and the new figures that will be announced in February. And then April started getting mentioned, and it sort of seemed to hop from February to April and back to February again during various discussions in the Dáil and elsewhere. There was a letter received by both the Council, Cathaoirleach Councillor Jack Murray, and the Chief Executive John McLaughlin last week from Darragh O'Brien, where he made an interesting point, and certainly Jack Murray noticed this with some trepidation, where the Minister said that the per foot rate will be set by me in consultation with SCSI. Now, the initial understanding was that the SCSI figure would be the figure. Is it a matter of concern that the Minister is effectively saying it will be set by me in consultation with them?
Yeah, well, again, that was something that we didn't expect to see coming through, and especially without any heads up of any kind to the homeowner representatives. So that certainly caused us concern. We've been seeking clarification since. I'm hoping to have clarification this week. I was expecting it towards the end of last week there. It didn't happen. But what I'm led to believe, Donal, it sort of falls along the same lines as if you take the COVID situation with NEFIT. NEFIT's an independent body. They will make the recommendation, but ultimately government are responsible for what happens, and it's ultimately their call. So if that's what it must be, and that parallel carries through into the defective concrete block scheme, then as a minimum, we want to see what it was that SCSI have recommended. And if the Minister believes he has to deviate for whatever reason, then okay, that's a conversation for them. But at least we want to see what SCSI looked like, and then we want to see what it was the Minister ran with. That allows us then to ask the appropriate questions at that time. What we're not happy with, and in a conversation that I've had with the CEO of SCSI just last week, they wouldn't be happy for them to be quoted as providing numbers which weren't actually their numbers. So that's good news. And I think what we require from this is what we would call SCSI pure, in other words, without being tampered or interfered with in any shape or form. And then beside that, what it is the minister runs with. And if the minister is different to that, then he needs to stand up and explain why it's different, because we were led to believe that SCSI were being used because of their independence, because of their credibility, and because of their transparency. So we'll be holding them to that.
We know that through the auspices of the Micro Redress Committee and their officials, Donegal County Council have been in touch with the Housing Department and others, and have been taking a proactive role in this over the past number of weeks. You're happy with the input of the council and what the council is trying to achieve?
Yeah, I am, Donal. At the end of the day, I think the council have been in a very, very precarious situation and difficult situation from the very beginning. This scheme was lumped upon them by the housing department, and they weren't set up to handle it, first of all, and they have waded their way through it as best they can with not a lot of guidance. And also what has transpired over the course of the rollout of the scheme has been the inadequacy of the standard itself, IS 465. And, you have the likes of John Gallagher there, well-respected and knowledgeable engineer in there. And he's making the point now that what do you want us to do here the housing department, what do you want us to do? The standard tells us to only acknowledge the presence of mica and pyrite, yet pyrrhotite, we all know, is probably more devastating than either of the other two. And it doesn't require freeze thaw action either to activate, which means that it's a real issue. And he's asking the question, so housing department, what do you want us to do? Because it's not a situation that you can come along and tell us to blindly ignore something that is as massive an issue as pyrrhotite. So we've been asking for this all along throughout the working group. It's in our final submission as well. It's there for anybody to see. Of the 30th of September. So we're not at odds. We're on the same page. We're on the same page with other engineers that have been calling for this all along. And we've been consistent in that. And what we're now really pleased to see is that the County Council themselves are taking this on and saying, come on, you need to come back and tell us what you want us to do. And to their, they're not prepared to process applications while that question remains unanswered. That the standard needs to be updated, simple as that. And I believe there are mechanisms where that can be done pretty quickly, and that needs to happen right away.
Well, for the latest in that respect, we're joined on the call by Councillor Martin McDermott, who is the chair of Donegal County Council's Micro Redress Committee. Martin, good morning.
Good morning, Donal. Good morning, Michael.
Morning, Martin.
Martin, the situation at the moment is the council will accept applications for the micro redress scheme, but no decisions are going to be made. Things are on hold at this point in time. Now, you're hopeful that will change relatively quickly.
Yeah, well, we had a meeting on Friday, Donal. We had a micro redress committee meeting on Friday, and the senior engineer in the council gave us quite a comprehensive breakdown and went through the situation that we face at the minute. At the minute, there's 596 applications received by Donegal County Council. There's 370 of those approved. There's 225 that's at the minute that's waiting for further information. So out of the situation that we have at the minute is that quite a large number of those applications would have other delirious materials and sulfites in those reports that have come in from the engineers, and a number of those would also be change of options where people had through stage 1 been an option of like option number 4 and now have coming back and with an option 1 for full demolish. So those situations and those changes circumstances all have to be gone through by the engineers, and as I say, they're all showing other elements, delirious materials, and not just mica and pyrite. And the council now need clarification from the department so that if they do sanction a full demolish with these other delirious materials in the reports, that stands up then, that there's not going to be a situation where the department's going to go back and say, well, that doesn't meet the protocol of IS 465. IS 465 is clearly states what that protocol is, and those don't fall under IS 465 at the minute. And we feel that needs to be clarified, and that the council have spoke to the department of this, and we're hoping to meet the department within the next few days to get clarification on this.
So hopefully by the end of this week, then we may know more about that, and the council may be in a position to progress further.
Yes, and look, the big issue here is there's families out there that have paid substantial amounts of money to get their testing, their coring done, 6, 7, 8,000 euro. They are sitting in limbo, looking and needing that money back, and it's totally unfair that those people are sitting in that situation. Some people might have started this process 15 months ago, and taken that amount of time to get the test done, to get the engineers' reports done, to get that onto the council, and now they are sitting waiting on that money. And we feel as well that there is no reason, and I think this is something that we're going to push this week, that those people should be able to get their money back. The new scheme is going to be a scheme where you only have to pay 500 euro upfront costs for and then you get that 500 euro back if you get into the scheme. So there's no reason that the government now can't pass something through the minister very, very quickly. I think Michael touched on this, that would be able to alleviate and allow those people to get their money back. And that's something we have to really try and nail down this week.
A query has come in, and I want to put this to both of you. Is there a cut-off period for admission onto the scheme if someone has unknowingly purchased a defective property and paid the full market value after January 2020?
Yeah, the cut-off point is the 31st of January 2020 was the cut-off point.
So, and any house bought before the 31st of January 2020 is the cut-off. So our caller here is just by the skin of their teeth within the scheme's remit. But if someone has bought after January 2020, they're potentially in trouble.
No, but they can come on. They can. There is going to be a situation where people, in circumstances that bought that house in good faith and didn't know what the situation was, they can make an appeal to the council in that respect. But the cut-off point is the 31st of January 2020.
Michael, have you anything to add to that?
Oh, that's about the height of it. As long as you had your property bought prior to 31st of January 2020, it's straightforward. It's not just as straightforward if you purchased afterwards, but we made that case to the minister at the time, and that if someone bought in good faith, then that should be taken into account. That will be a local authority decision, which is good. It's not a decision that has to go to Dublin. But the other aspect would be if someone bought a house at rock bottom value, and it's clearly the value reflected in Micah House, then you wouldn't expect that person to avail of the scheme, and I think that's only right.
Yeah. In terms of where we go from here, important from your point of view, Michael, that the council gets clarification on those issues that Martin was discussing, that they're going to be having talks with the department in the coming days, and from your own point of view as well, of course, clarification on the SESI and the figures and so on. Are you more or less confident now than you were the day we had Darragh O'Brien's announcement?
I think Darragh O'Brien's announcement, was scuppered. I'll be straight with you. I think it was scuppered. I think the housing department came in there with a sliding scale that sort of grabbed the headlines. It was easily, and there was this confusion around, or so-called confusion around numbers. Nobody was confused around the numbers. It's very straightforward. You get your calculator out and you know what it is your grant's going to be, and you know for a fact that's going to leave you well short. We know based on the average sized home that's 65,000 of a shortfall. So nobody can turn around and tell us that was 100% redress. So there's a massive disconnect between reality and what was announced that day. So yes, that was a big disappointment to us. I think there is room to salvage this. I genuinely do. I think there needs to be clarity, what I just talked about at the very beginning, that SESI are allowed to be independent. They'll be using local surveyors from the area that are SESI registered, and that allows us to get real costings based on real houses, and that's what we need. And that should be the homeowner's advantage. It's then down to, do government play about with that, or do government take that at face value? And if they're going to play about with it, we want that transparency. That's a basic requirement of it, and that's what we'll be insisting upon. Regards the that's one part of it, right? The other part then is the standard, and Martin's alluded to that. The deleterious materials that are not just mica and pyrite needs reflected. Everybody knows it. Foundations need included as well, and the relationship between the homeowner engineer and the housing agency engineer, that's paramount, and that needs to be a hand in glove relationship and not something that's just handed off from one to the other without consultation. There's a lot of experience gained by our engineers on the ground. That needs to be reflected. From a council perspective, what we're asking from them is with some of the stuff Martin has highlighted there, force the housing department into making a call around the deleterious materials, ensure that the foundations are going to be included, and ensure that people are getting their money back, that they've been out now for, I have examples 17 months old where people are still waiting on the money in. There is 5k as well for emergency works, which needs done as soon as possible, and let's get through the red tape and make that happen. Chimneys that are about to come down can be taken down. There's money there to do it. Let's go make that happen. Let's not make a big deal of that. It's emergency works, treat it that way. And the other parts that I say around there too is stuff that still needs a bit of working out regarding RTB for the buy-to-let people as well. There's still a lack of clarity around that, and we're hoping to work on this week. So yeah, there's certainly work to do, but I think it's doable.
Martin McDermott, final word to you. Based on what Michael Doherty just said there, particularly in terms of what he'd like to see the council do, seems by and large you and he are both singing off the same hymn sheet. You're both going in the same direction.
Absolutely, and I mean, look, Greg, we've always, from the start of this, the council has tried to work as closely with Michael and the team there as possible, and the work that they're doing and the fantastic everyday work, morning, noon and night, that's been put on here behind the scenes is just phenomenal. And I think that people don't see some of the work that these guys are putting in, and I think it's paramount that the council are strong, that are fully behind the work that Michael and his team are doing, and that we, from a local authority perspective, we're an arm of the state, and we're a strong arm of the state, and I think it's important that the council push this agenda forward as much as they can, and the engineers and the senior engineers and the department officials and our officials in the housing section of Donegal County Council, put pressure on the department to make these decisions quickly and as quickly as possible this week for families that are coming to a time of the year we all want and we all need, and everybody wants to try and get a break over Christmas. And people need some certainty, people need hope, and certainly I think it's paramount now in Donegal County Council that after Friday's meeting that we put the pressure fully on the department to answer these questions now and answer them quickly and get the finances back to people that need it, that have been out of money now for months and months on end.
Councillor Martin McDermott, the chair of Donegal County Council's Micah Redress Committee, and Michael Doherty, PRO of the Micah Action Group. Thanks both of you very much indeed for speaking to us this morning. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Donal.
It's our pleasure. It's approaching 6.5 minutes to 11 o'clock. I'm going to take a short break.
Gift sets by celebrity, by budget, or from the classic collection at McGee's Chemist, Main Street, Letterkenny. For the perfect present every time. Visit mcgees.ie, sponsors of the 9 till noon show.
At Lidl, we won so many golds, silvers and bronzes at the recent Irish Quality Food and Drink Awards that they named us Retailer of the Year. We're delighted, thrilled, over the moon, couldn't be happier for you and your family, because you're the ones who'll get to enjoy all the winners. Lidl, more for you.
Winter in Dublin presents the festive season. Follow the twinkling lights, there's magic in the air, and Christmas markets to be explored. Visit the man himself at one of the city's Santa experiences. Find the perfect gift or the perfect place to pass a cold winter evening catching up over some mulled wine. There's so many amazing things to see and do before it's time to ring in 2022 at the New Year's Festival Dublin. Join us for the festivities this winter in Dublin. Find out more at visitdublin.ie.
Hake and Dublin Bay prawn chowder. Grilled trout with pak choy. This Christmas, add a fresh idea to any table with Irish seafood, like organic smoked salmon or fresh Irish oysters. For starters or for mains, weekday dishes or weekend treat. Irish seafood is available in your local fishmonger or supermarket. It's easy to prepare and it adds variety to your festive meals. Enjoy the best that our fishermen bring ashore. And for great Irish seafood recipes, visit boardbia.ie/fish.
New this week in Home Store and More. All office chairs and all occasional chairs are half price. That's right, half price. But better hurry, because when all our half price office chairs and all our half price occasional chairs are gone, they're definitely gone. So order online before 2 p.m. today for next day delivery, or drop by your local Home Store and More. Home Store and More. A happy home.
Neville Maguire here, and I love this time of year.
It's a great time to try out new recipes for the big day. It'll come as no surprise that I think cookware makes a great Christmas gift. And my Cook with Nevin Maguire range at Dunnes Stores has plenty to choose from. You'll find lots of great gift ideas, from colourful cast iron pots to the versatile skillet pan, as well as great kitchen gadgets. Shop the Cook with Nevin Maguire range at Dunnes Stores today, in-store or online.
Whatever the weather, Christmas shopping in Letterkenny will brighten your December. The Highland Weather Forecast, brought to you by Shop LK. See shoplk.ie or like us on Facebook.
Variable cloud with sunny spells today. Some scattered showers and highest temperatures of 5 to 8 degrees Celsius. Light to moderate southwest breezes, fresh in coastal areas. Staying mostly dry tonight with clear spells. Cloud pushing in from the Atlantic later, bringing some patchy drizzle towards dawn. Lowest overnight temperatures 0 to plus 4 degrees Celsius with a touch of frost in places. Southwest winds freshening, becoming strong along coastal areas. Cloud increasing tomorrow morning with patchy rain and drizzle at times through the day. Breezy in fresh and gusty southwest winds. Strong along coasts with gales developing off northwest coasts for a time. Highest temperatures of 8 to 10 degrees Celsius. I note with interest that the new president of the Chamber of Commerce in Derry is Aidan O'Kane. He's become the 79th president of the Chamber. He's a director of Northern Ireland's largest IT company, Allstate NI. He was appointed at the Chamber's annual general meeting on Thursday last. And he is not a stranger to this programme, actually, or to Highland Radio News, because he's one of the co-chairs of the Cross-Border Workers Coalition. So we'd have had Aidan on very often on the show, and indeed on the news as well, speaking about the issues of cross-border taxation and the impact that was having on people working from home in Donegal while working for a company in Derry, and the double taxation that potentially ensues from that. So that's an interesting one, and we wish Aidan all the best in his tenure as the Chamber President in Derry. Headlines with Michaela coming up very soon, but before that we will take a short break.
What do you give someone who has everything? Everything, because that's what you get with an Aldi gift card. Choose from delicious Christmas food and drink, or even our legendary Aldi special buys. Values range from €10 to €500. It's perfect for loved ones, and it shows them just how gifted you are. Purchase in-store or buy online. Aldi, make Christmas amazing for everyone. Terms apply. Visit aldi.ie/gift cards for details.
Hello there. Golly gosh, it's almost Christmas, and we want to help you here at Harvey's Point make it extra special. And what better way than with a Harvey's Point gift card, available to order direct from the hotel 074 97 22208 or online at harveyspoint.com. It's the gift that keeps on giving all year round. A Harvey's Point gift card.
Thinking about your Christmas party? At Luca's Restaurant, we now have Room 2 at Luca's. Beautifully decorated, the spacious function room is perfect for work or family parties. You'll enjoy an amazing choice of freshly cooked food from our special Christmas menu. Let our family look after you this Christmas at Luca's. To book, call 074 911 3404.
If you're aged 50 or over, it's time for your COVID-19 vaccine booster. Without one, you're more at risk of serious illness from COVID-19. Your booster will give you the best possible protection. When your booster is due, the HSC will send your appointment by text message. People in this group can also come to a walk-in vaccination clinic or contact a participating pharmacy or GP. Visit hsc.ie for clinic times and locations near you. From the HSC.
Candles, lanterns, Christmas tree, decorations, elf on the shelf and all types of lights. It's everything you need for Christmas. Experience the magic of Christmas at Cooney's Letterkenny. Our biggest and best ever Christmas shop is open 7 days with unbeatable value on lights, trees and accessories. There's something for everyone this Christmas at Cooney's Letterkenny Retail Park.
This year, Centra is everythine you need to go full-on festive. Delicious buttery short crust pastry mince pies, rich and velvety Belgian chocolate sponge pudding, and handmade dark chocolate Yule log. Delight and indulge this Christmas with their award-winning Inspired by Centra range. Centra. Live every day.
Now, we know that walk-in vaccination boosters took place at the vaccination centre in Letterkenny in the business park there, the old Optum building. and that took place over the course of the weekend. And we've been contacted by a number of people who say they've been going to the vaccination centres this morning and it's not open. Now, the HSE is advising people to check the hse.ie website before attending a centre, because there's different walk-in times. Sometimes they have appointments, sometimes they're on home visits, sometimes they're going out and vaccinating elsewhere. So vaccination boosters are continuing, but not necessarily in public sessions at the building. So before you go to the vaccination centre, it would be an idea maybe to check the hse.ie website and just double check what's available, because it changes on a day-to-day basis, and they will have it up on the website before anything else. It's a minute past 11 o'clock. Time for the news headlines, and we say good morning, Michaela Clark.
Thanks, Donal. Good morning. An attack on an elderly grandmother and her granddaughter in Buncrana over the weekend has been described as cowardly, vicious and brutal. A number of people entered the home of the 82-year-old woman and her 18-year-old granddaughter in the Illies area on Saturday morning between 4 and 6 a.m, subjecting the women to a prolonged attack over an hour and a half, ransacking the property and issuing threats to kill. Gardaí have confirmed a number of items were taken during the break-in. No arrests have been made, but investigations are ongoing. A man in his 50s arrested as part of the investigation into the murder of Eddie Fullerton has been released without charge. Eddie Fullerton was shot dead at his home in Buncrana on Saturday the 25th of May 1991. Gardaí say a file will now be prepared for the DPP. Councillors in the Inishowen Municipal District have further refuted claims that they had prior knowledge to the purchasing of mica-affected properties by Donegal County Council in Buncrana. It was confirmed earlier this year that 5 houses in Buncrana, which were initially leased and were subsequently bought by the authority, do have mica. Caherlock councillor Jack Murray says the emergence of the news was damaging to the families living there, who feared their homes were going to be demolished. The rollout of vaccines to children aged 5 to 11 is expected to form part of an updated vaccination programme due to be announced this week. The over 40s are also set to be added to an accelerated booster plan amid fears over the Omicron variant. Serious concern has been raised over what's been described as a severe lack of security staff on the grounds of Letterkenny University Hospital. It comes following an incident at the St Connell's campus earlier this month, which resulted in an arrest and a member of staff being injured. And over 200 properties are without power in Donegal this morning. 77 homes and businesses are without power in Derrybeg, while a further 188 are affected in Milford. ESB expect power to be restored to all areas by 1:30 this afternoon. Those are the latest headlines. We'll be back with an update again at 12 noon.
Disney Plus is the only place to get that epic Christmas feeling.
It's going to be the best Christmas ever.
Today FM calls it the feel-good film of the year.
I will save the magic.
Disney's Encanto, plus brand new original series, Marvel Studios' Hawkeye, and the Book of Boba Fett.
I intend to rule with respect.
All this for just $8.99 a month. This Christmas season never felt so good. Disney Plus. 18 plus subscription required. T's and C's apply.
Think outside the box with your photos this Christmas for canvas prints, mugs and calendars at mcgee's.ie. McGee's Chemist Letterkenny, sponsors of the 9 till noon show.
It's the third hour of the 9 till noon show. If you want to text us 086 60 25,000, that number good for WhatsApp messages as well. You can call us on 074 91 25,000, 00353 74 91 25,000 if you're outside of the dialing area. We're comments at Highland Radio on email, at Highland Radio on Twitter, Highland Hub on Facebook. Last week, when I was last on the show, we spoke to the Mayor of Derry, Alderman Graham Wark, about vandalism of Christmas lights and decorations there. And sadly, it's now time to have a similar conversation with a member of the Buncrana Christmas Lights Committee, Ryan Stewart. Good morning.
Good morning, Donal.
Ryan, tell us what happened.
Well, a bit of drunken vandalism on Friday night. A few people were trying to climb the Christmas tree and caused a fair bit of damage to it. Just late night drinking, out climbing the tree, and we were out on Saturday morning repairing the damage, so it is partially fixed now, but we have to get a teleporter out to fix other parts of the tree where the wires nipped and stuff like that, and nets torn, and it's just disappointing to see, you know.
And this is voluntary work, and it took sort of 12 to 15 people to actually get this situation sorted at the weekend.
No, but well, there's 12 to 15 of us in the committee. Like, we're all volunteers. We don't get paid for the work that we do, and it's just to brighten up the town at Christmas, bring people into the town. Basically celebrate Christmas. And brighten things up for people. But unfortunately, there's some people out there just don't have any respect for the work that goes into it.
Obviously, you'd be hoping that this wouldn't become a regular thing, and it seems rather than being something malicious, it was something you believe that was more just irresponsible.
Just drunken stupidity, unfortunately. I mean, we were all young at one stage, but we haven't really had any trouble with for years now with people damaging anything around the town regarding the lights or anything like that. So it's just disappointing that it's happened. As I say, a lot of work goes into it. We raise money locally. The lights that's on the tree are all brand new lights that we invested in this year from, fundraising throughout the year, gathering up money. It's all voluntary. Like we're
And have you managed to salvage the lights? I mean, or have you actually had to spend money replacing some of the bulbs?
I had to replace some of them, but as I say, the majority of the repairs are done. But we've a lot more work to do. On one side of the tree now, where just the damage is too high up. We have to get a teleporter to actually make the repairs and that. So.
Okay, well, it's good to know that it's being repaired, and we'll certainly put the message out to people. Look, just please be careful, and please take care around these decorations in the tree, because a lot of work goes into putting them there, and it's that committee is a very, very hard-working one, and it's for the benefit of everyone.
Thanks very much, Donal.
Ryan, thank you. That's Ryan Stewart there, who's a member of the Buncrana Christmas Lights Committee. Now, and we were saying just before the news there, and I'll just repeat this because I think this is important in terms of the vaccination centre in Letterkenny. It isn't operating on a walk-in basis for boosters 7 days a week. It was at the weekend, and there will be boosters offered on a walk-in basis at other points during the week. It's not doing so at the moment, and a number of people have been arriving expecting it. So if you please just double check with the HSC website just to see what is available. Now, caller says, what does Michael mean by rock price figures, please? Now, basically, I think he's talking about the basic prices, and I'm afraid Michael is gone, and I can't ask him to answer that question, unfortunately. Is there any reason for applications at stage 2 can't progress? My understanding is at this point in time the council is trying to progress applications as quickly as they can. Obviously, because we now have a revised scheme, there's discussions with the department on how to implement it, and that is going to delay proceedings somewhat, but the council are hoping that they'll get that moving as quickly as possible. If the government are employing their own engineers to inspect properties, surely they'll be under pressure to go with the cheapest option. That's a question from a caller. I'm not sure the government are employing engineers to inspect properties. My understanding is that the inspections are taking place locally. What's being set nationally is the actual per square foot rate that will be offered as part of the scheme to the people. I'm not sure that government employed engineers are going to be doing all the property inspections. I could be incorrect on that, but that's not my understanding. Caller says, I'm in the Gweedore area. I've had no 3 coverage since Friday. Does anyone know why? We will certainly put that question out there. Now, Brendan Devaney, presenter of the DL Debate, which is on tonight, on air after 7, and indeed available as a podcast as well. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Donal.
Brendan, it's going to be a busy show. We'll get to that in a moment. Before we do, a really busy weekend of GAA once again, and it seems unions just can't lose at the moment.
Yeah, a lot of good things happening there, and I suppose as a unions man, I've got to be careful how I'll leave that down to my analysts, the likes of Gary McDade and Kilcoyne and that, Brendan Kilcoyne. But yeah, certainly, I mean, even in under 21 hurling, they won yesterday as well. They're in the final with Satanta, which is setting up a similar final to the senior final this year. So yeah, a lot of good things happening underage hurling and at senior. So listen, great year for the club. Yeah.
In terms of the programme tonight, you're speaking to one of the legends of recent Donegal football, and that's Paddy McGrath.
Yeah, listen, what a guy, on and off the pitch, a tremendous fella. I was just looking at Donegal's record before Paddy coming in. Donegal had won 5 Ulsters, and in his time there they won another 5. They literally doubled it in his playing career. It's been a phenomenal time for Donegal in terms of Ulster, and of course the memorable 2012, which was a real jewel in the crown of his career. It'll be interesting to see what he thought about 2014, the one that maybe got away as well. But certainly, phenomenal influence over everybody there. And I think, Donegal's loss will be Ardra's gain, having Paddy there, because we all know we county players, they don't be about the club that much. So he's going to have a massive influence on Ardra next season, and the young lads around there looking up to him. And he still has a big role to play there, but he's a busy man. He's a little wee baby on the way. He's building a house. He's doing all sorts. So I'd say the commitment and versus probably the toll it takes on the body. It was probably the time was right for him.
It's going to be hard to replace him in defence, because he's been an absolute bulwark of the defence of the Donegal team, and this is going to give Declan Bonner a headache, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. When you think back to that 2012 time, and I keep thinking, that we realise the players that we had, it was absolutely phenomenal squad. I mean, when you think about Paddy back in there with Neil and Eamon, like they had the mix for every forward line coming in. Eamon had the height, he could take the big man. Neil was just unbelievable. Neil and Paddy uncompromising. You look throughout that team, it was phenomenal. And you think then sideline against teams at that time, Michael Murphy, Colin McFadden and Paddy McBurdy. I mean, looking back at it now, Donal, it's absolutely phenomenal, the side that we had, that they came together at that time. But Paddy was an integral part of that.
And it's just the nature of the beast, I suppose. It's going to be the forwards, it's going to be the point and goal scorers get the attention, get the adulation, but it's the people like Paddy and the two McGees at the back, the ones that are holding it all together. I mean, it's fair to say, were it not for the McGees and for Paddy McGrath, there would not have been an All-Ireland title in Donegal in 2012.
It's the whole way, from obviously Durkin out and how he mastered the kick-outs and as a shot stop into the defence, the setup, the way everybody funneled back in and defended. It was a phenomenal time. I mean, Paddy obviously played in the under-21 All-Ireland final with a broken jaw. It was his decision to go and play, and we asked the surgeon, listen, can I play? What if I get a rap on it? The surgeon was like, I'll fix you. I don't know who the surgeon was, but Paddy played that game. Nobody knew about it, obviously, because it'd be dangerous if the Dubs had known, but that's the type of player he was.
Another guest tonight, another legend indeed of contemporary GAA in Donegal, Geraldine McLaughlin.
Yeah, she won the All-Star a couple of weeks back, and I knew it was coming the end of the year, so I thought it'd be a nice way to round it off with good news stories, and talking about Paddy's career be one. But Geraldine, I mean, that was the 6th time I think of asking. I think she had 5 nominations before that. So listen, talk about overdue. I mean, she's just there can't be, there's no one in Ireland forward ways match her stats ever at this point. It's just unreal what she's done. So delighted for her to get that All-Star, and be interesting to hear how the night went. And I suppose Michael Naughton being the president, former manager of hers, and it must have been nice that he was there as well in the night.
And this is the last DL debate of the year, so you'll be wrapping up pretty much 2021 with your usual panellists.
Yeah, that's it. The brains and the knowledge of Brendan Kilcoyne and Gary McDaid. Of course, we Downlands with a brilliant one at the weekend in the junior semi-final there, in the Ulster junior semi-final or final next week against the Cavan champions then. I think that's to be played at Clonus now, so we're going to talk about that in all under-21s. You had the A final on, as you said, Donal, at 1. You had the B semis and the C semis as well. You had the hurling. So a lot of stuff happening at the weekend. But listen, fair play to Downlands, beating McDermott's of Monaghan 1-9-8. So huge run there. They're still flying the flag for Donegal and still training the December rain. So listen, good luck to them. They've another hurdle to get over now next week, and hopefully they can take that title.
Well, that's the DL debate. It's as we say, it's on air tonight after the 7 o'clock news, also available as a podcast, and that'll be going out later on in the day. Brendan, if anyone wants to make contact with yourself or make any comments, can they get in touch with the show?
They can indeed. You can contact me across any social media. I do get direct messages now and then, so just send them in through Facebook or Twitter or whatever, if anybody's any points to bring up in that. So that's we love that debate. I often get from people out in the street. We get great feedback, because I think just the way the GA is in the county at the minute, and you've seen it with our club deciders there, a lot of them around at Donald Park. There's been a great people coming from all over to see these games and enjoy them, and that was another cracker, that under-21 final yesterday. So yeah, the debate will continue. This will be the last in the series for this year anyway, Donal. So we'll sign off and wish everybody a happy Christmas, and we'll look forward to 2022.
Yeah, before you go, are you looking for a chance for a job?
What's
because a caller has just said as soon as Declan Bonner steps aside, Brendan Devaney should be in there like a shot.
That's a lot of headaches. I might put that one to Gary McDade and Kilcoyne. They might be more suited to that than me. But it's comfy behind the desk as you are. Don't look at you now.
It's true.
It's probably the best place to be.
Brendan, it's a pleasure as always. Listen,
Thanks,
you have a great Christmas. Happy Christmas. Happy New Year.
You too,
We'll
sir.
see you in 2022. And that last deal debate, as we say, is on tonight. That's Brendan there. And we wish him all the best. And you can hear what the final show comes. I mean, to talk to Paddy McGrath and Geraldine McLaughlin, as I say, two legends of contemporary Donegal football. And that promises to be a great show, as always, on air after the 7 o'clock news tonight, and available as a podcast on the Highland Radio website and indeed on other platforms as well.
Gift sets by celebrity, by budget, or from the classic collection at McGee's Chemist, Main Street, Letterkenny. For the perfect present every time. Visit mcgees.ie, sponsors of the 9 till noon show.
Give the gift of sport from Brian McCormick Sports and Leisure. See the range of 6-foot Riley folding pool tables. Great for family fun every Christmas. Brian McCormick Sports and Leisure, Main Street, Letterkenny, and online at bmcsports.ie.
At Super Value, we want to share even more magic this Christmas by giving you savings off your shopping with our Real Rewards vouchers, which are available on our handy app. So no need to worry about leaving them at home. If you haven't already, download the Real Rewards app to get new vouchers every week until Christmas. Share the magic this Christmas with Super Value.
Looking to gift your staff this Christmas? Why not spoil them with a McElhinney's gift card? For corporate packages, call us on 074 913 1217. McElhinney's Ballybuffet for the dreamers this Christmas. Open Sundays from 11 to 6 or shop online with free next day delivery at mcelhenneys.com.
Beat the cost of Brexit and no customs charges. Do you need a UK address? For your limited company or personal use, Space Hub in Derry can provide you with your own virtual office or mailbox. Have your post and parcels delivered to Space Hub and collect at your convenience. Also brand new 20-foot shipping containers now in stock. Ideal for all your storage needs at our Springtown and Coolmore depots. Find us on Facebook or spacehubderry.com or call 04871 878077 for details.
Whether revolutionary engines, hybrid technologies, or all-electric, discover what drives you with the 221 Mazda electrified range at McGinley Mazda. Stand out from the crowd with award-winning Kodo design that makes your Mazda a work of art. And go the extra mile with next-level Sky-Active fuel efficiency. To order your 221 Mazda, visit our showroom or mcginleymazda.ie to find the best 221 offer to suit your lifestyle. Mazda. Drive together. Terms and conditions apply.
Your local Mazda dealer is McGinley Motors, Pierce Road, Letterkenny.
Christmas is covered at Letterkenny Shopping Centre. Free parking, shopping and Santa under one roof. Letterkenny Shopping Centre, bringing you the time at...
And the time on Highland Radio now 18 minutes past 11 o'clock. With regards to the school bus, and we were discussing earlier on the school bus in the Birdstown Burnfoot area of South Inishowen and the campaign to have the route changed slightly. Another caller says, my house is on the main road and a lay-by has been concreted for the bus to pull in. If the bus were to change, it would mean my child would have to cross the road, which is not acceptable. Every child's life is important. I disagree with the removal of the stops as they are. That's the contribution of one of our listeners, and indeed there are always going to be perspectives, and it's important that every voice is heard and every perspective is recognised. Interesting to look at a story in the Donegal News today written by Louise Doyle. More people are now couch surfing. Letterkenny-based Simon Community has said there are increasing numbers of people who are effectively couch surfing in Donegal. It means that people are living with family and friends in overcrowded competitions, sleeping on couches, going from place to place. They're supporting 104 households, of whom 20% they say are reasonably secure accommodation, and that's either provided for the local authorities or supported by the local authorities. 18 of those in Donegal and 2 in Sligo. And always interested to hear what Simon have to say, and it is important indeed that we keep an eye on that situation, because very often, particularly in a county like Donegal, we can fall victim to the trap that homelessness is a Dublin thing, homelessness is a Cork thing, homelessness is a Belfast thing. Homelessness, sadly, at this point, is an Irish thing, and that is something we have to recognise. It's time for our Monday Focus, and today we are joined on Zoom by Christine Duff, who did a really interesting TED Talk about living with a label. And we're going to talk to Christine about that. Christine, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Very well indeed. It's our pleasure to speak to you. Now, your child has autism, and that was the subject of what you had to say. Everyone's experience, I say, with autism is going to be different, and everyone is going to have their own story to tell. And the fact that everyone is different means it's hugely dangerous to impose labels and make presumptions, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. And that's a great point. Like, everyone is going to have their own experience, everyone's going to have their own information to share. And I'm hoping to just bring awareness to what I know about the experience that I had in my life with my son so far. So I've gotten him to 11 and a half years of age now. And looking back, the TED Talk kind of highlights it's been a challenging road, but one that I hope will encourage, inspire, and help someone else that's listening to kind of say, okay, right, the things that she's gone through there, and like, I can recognize that, or I can see that in my own child, or not even your child. There could be adults. You know, I said this as well, that there could be adults in their 50s, 60s, 70s. You know, the whole thing with labels and autism and assessments. There's a lot more awareness about it now. There's a lot more information. So there are probably a lot of adults amongst us with traits and different, different quirks, you could say, that might show a certain tendency towards it. But that's not to say that, you know, just because someone displays something in their 50s or 60s that they should have a label of autism. It's just I'm hoping to raise awareness and get people to understand, you know, bring more compassion, bring more self-regulation into yourself to be able to understand other people.
And in a sense, what autism is, and please forgive me if I'm expressing this in a clunky way, autism, as I understand it, means the brain is wired slightly differently. And because the brain is wired slightly differently, responses and reactions are going to be different. But there is no way you can say, this person has autism, therefore they're going to do X. The experience of autism is, this person has autism and they are almost likely to do anything.
That's absolutely true. I mean, from what I've learned as well, and I like the way you said about the brain being wired differently, because I've encountered people that would have children on the spectrum, and they would even say to me, does your son know? And my answer is yes, he does know, because I've told him, you know, I've said to him, your brain has, the way the wires work in your brain, it's like little electric currents, you know, they send the signals to you differently. You might understand things differently, but then you could have more strength in another area. Like, we'll say his drawing skills are phenomenal. He can play the piano from ear. He never had a lesson. You know, there's amazing things about it. But I would describe the diagnosis that my son has would be more on the high functioning autism. So he's in a regular school with assistance and support from the school. There's an SNA and there's resource. And he's in an Irish speaking school, which again is another thing that kids with certain types of autism, they're exempt from speaking Irish. There's an exemption given to them. But I suppose my thing is, you know, why are they exempt? Maybe, you know, don't put that on every child. Again, every child is different. You can't say that, oh, they have autism, therefore they can't do this language. They could be absolutely amazing at languages. You just don't know. You have to give every child the best chance they can get with what you can do as a parent.
There was a line you used which I really loved, which was, you said, my son is a master manipulator, but I'm a master negotiator.
I know, yeah. I feel a bit like Liam Neeson, you know, in Taken. It's true, though. Honestly, he's such a character. He can even just last night, you know, the usual, did you brush your teeth? Yeah, I did. And I just knew. I was like, no, you didn't. No, I did. And it was just the little, how do you know? You know, like the little things like that. But even in situations with school over the years, I mean, there was a time I really genuinely thought he wouldn't make it through primary school. I thought he'd be expelled, really, with the carry on out of him. The meltdowns he would have had quite young. I say that in the TED Talk as well. The way he was diagnosed was behavioural differences. He was extremely frustrated. He was extremely angry, extremely explosive, and I would say, as his mom looking on now, that was him trying to express himself, but he didn't have the correct way of expressing himself. You know, it was frustration.
Yeah, and funny, you've just anticipated my next question, because I was going to ask exactly that. Is that anger born of a frustration because he wants to communicate something and he maybe doesn't have the way of expressing what he wants to communicate, and he can't make people understand what's going on in his head, and you have this disconnect. That it must be very difficult, and it must be a very lonely place to be where he is, because he wants to express stuff, but it's almost as though he is the only person that feels the way he does, and that must weigh on him, even though he might not necessarily verbalize it in that way.
Yeah, like when he was quite small, I would say, like, 3, 4, and 5, absolutely. It was extremely difficult. Even in school, there was a time where he could throw things, he could just be really disruptive and, again, behavioral. So as he matured, I decided to take matters into my own hands and kind of research how to find a balance with this, because having explosive anger meltdowns, I mean, my fear was, okay, if he can do that as a little boy, that's grand, I can catch him and try and contain it. But even, I'll go off topic for a second, even getting his hair cut, I mean, that used to be an absolutely torturous experience. I would physically have to hold him, I'd have to hold his head for his hair to be cut, and as a mom trying to do that to your child, that's a horrible experience. So I was really getting, curious as to how can I help this? How can I make it more balanced, more relaxed, more calm? So that started my kind of research then with doing alternative therapies with him. And when I say alternative therapies, everyone, again, will have a different experience with that. We were lucky enough, we went down the route of cranial sacral therapy, which I don't know if you heard of it, or it's along the lines of, people that would be interested in Reiki, kinesiology, acupuncture, all those alternative medicines. So that for me is what helped us. If we found a therapist, and he's now 11, as I said, we started when he was 4.5, and in his own words, as he's matured over the years, I've said to him, describe in your own words, what does it feel like? And his exact words were, it just feels like she takes all the stressy feelings out of my body and they melt away.
That's good. I mean, it's and the fact that he's verbalizing that is a very positive thing. It also shows a level of trust, and sometimes trust can be a huge issue in autism. And the fact that he trusts the therapist and obviously trusts you, that is important.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and that is vital, because he's very good at reading people, even if we're in a situation where he felt uncomfortable, he'd say it. He'd say, I don't feel very comfortable here, or I didn't feel comfortable with that person. It's like, he's learning as he's maturing what feels right for him and his body, which is something that I'm very passionate about for everyone. And I've learned an awful lot myself by doing this, because, as a mom, we don't get manuals, we don't get books. We're just going with what we know from what our parents taught us. So it was very important for me to figure out a way for me to self-regulate myself, my level of frustration. If I was frustrated, I could cry, I could get upset, and I had to learn how to balance all that. I had to figure out what works for me, so that in order for me to be calm and relaxed and, go with the flow, then I found it had a ripple effect into his life as well.
You told a story of how he swallowed toys, said he swallowed toys, because he wanted an x-ray so he could see a picture of his insides. Now, when you get something like that, I mean, that must knock you for six. Does he still have the capacity to surprise you in that way?
100%. He's, as I said, he's a character. And, it's just, he was so small. He was only 4 at the time. And he said he swallowed a toy. We'd been out all day. It was a long weekend. So I brought him to hospital, and, he got the x-rays. And when we got home, it turns out that he hadn't swallowed the toy at all. It was under a blanket. But as his mother, I had kind of thought, wow, he can manipulate me into that situation. So I'm very conscious that as he's maturing, he won't be doing that, going into teenage life. I'll be very much on the ball. That goes into the manipulator kind of thing with him.
From your own point of view, you've developed a support network, people that you can trust as well, and people you know. What advice do you have? And I know there's a lot of people in Donegal are involved in autism. I have some friends who themselves have autistic children, and there is a huge autism support network up here. I'm sure you've probably met some of the Donegal crew on your own travels. But for those maybe who are starting out on the journey, for those who have autistic children, what sort of tips do you have? What sort of experiences can you share with them that might be of benefit?
Yeah, well, number one, anyway, I would say don't be afraid to share or speak about it. I've often found that people they seem to have almost like a level of embarrassment, or a level of shame, or a level of, oh God, I can't tell them. So try to get rid of that, and you'll actually find that the more people you speak to, the more people will know someone on the spectrum, and they'll know someone that can guide you to someone that's similar. Again, every single child is going to be unique and different in their own way, but I would say for you as a parent, reach out to different people, like get the school involved as much as possible, get neighbours involved, get friends involved. Like the more you talk, the more you'll find that someone will go, oh my God, I can relate to that. The more you can relate to others with what you're going through, then you'll find that you're actually not alone.
In terms of the schools, a lot more understanding now than there was in the past. And most schools now at this stage are far better equipped to deal with autism and are far more ready to maybe accept that challenge.
100%. And I actually had that experience last year. I had one of the teachers from my son's preschool ring me and asked, was it okay to share my information with a mother who had presented at the school, and her child was very similar to my son, and they hadn't heard of PDA, they didn't know anything about it, and I was only too delighted to share what I knew. And it was great because that teacher in particular, she said they themselves are far more able to understand and deal with it nowadays, whereas if you go back to, even it's not that long ago, I mean, what was he for? So think back to that little time. There's been so much advancement and changes in our system, in our understanding, in our education. And I remember having a letter, still have the letter somewhere. He was on the verge of being expelled from preschool, like, because of his behaviour. So I mean, that'll tell you how much we've changed. They can't do that now.
PDA is pathological demand avoidance, and talk to us a little about that, because it can be at the core of many people's experience, and it can be one of the most frightening elements of dealing with autism.
So basically, it stands for pathological demand avoidance. It's like the Jekyll and Hyde personality. So you can be, extremely loving, kind, caring one day. You can be explosive, destructive the next day. You could be both in one. It's like, flipping a coin. So you'll get heads one day, tails the next. You'll actually never know. Basically, what I understand is from my son, the more relaxed he is in his body, the more balanced he is. Okay. So if someone is going around and they are on eggshells themselves, I would understand it to be that there is something within them that is causing them to feel, as we'll say, fizzy, explosive. We could use words like anxious, nervous, stressed. And that's why I would be very passionate about even a lot of adults listening to this, because there could be a lot of adult men and women listening, much, older generations that have those feelings and think, oh my God, that sounds like me. It's like you can be set off and have an explosive meltdown, and then all of a sudden you can be relaxed and calm about it. It's really, it's an unusual term. I know nowadays, even again, since he's had his diagnosis, they don't give out labels like that. It was previously, I think you'd hear people might have Asperger's, or they might have, ADHD. Whereas nowadays, from what I understand, it's just a general autism. There's no kind of categories going off it.
You made the very interesting point that you almost had to learn. Well, you didn't almost have to. You did have to learn how to apply reverse psychology, because if there is an avoidance situation in place, the last thing you need to do is say, do it, because that just creates an absolute conflict. So you almost became making him think it was his idea to do it.
Oh, absolutely. And it's a great experience to kind of try with people, I mean that in a very gentle way. But if you find, even as an adult now, you're in a work situation and you have a very difficult boss or a difficult colleague, if you actually try the little reverse psychology, instead of saying, can you do that? You could almost say, would it be possible? Do you think maybe, it's just about changing your language. So I find that really works with my son. Like, I remember one incident when he was very small, it was raining, and I said to him, put on your coat. Therefore, because I said put it on, it was an absolute no. Whereas he saw me getting my coat another day, and I said, oh, I'm going to put on my coat now. I feel like my skin is going to get wet. I don't want to be cold. And straight away he said, oh, I think I'll put mine on as well. So it's very much like an indirect way of communicating, but once you master it, it becomes your norm then as well, and it's very effective. As I said, it can work even with people that aren't on the spectrum. Just changing your language and your tone of voice can be very, very effective.
In terms of supports from government and the HSE, what more can be done to support people like yourself? You've obviously gone and done an awful lot of your own research. You've done an awful lot and really become proactive. And we've spoken very much about what you're doing. But what needs to happen at state level? It's great to hear too that there's more happening in schools in terms of developing an understanding there. But in terms of support for parents, I mean, what would you like to see happen?
I definitely think there needs to be a lot more availability for alternative therapies. I know myself with like there's I believe the kids nowadays will benefit from a lot more support, like talking therapies. Talking might work for one, or like I said now, the alternative therapies. I'd like to see those implemented into the schools, not just for the children, but for the parents also. It's a two-way system. There's no point in you as a parent putting all your time, effort, and energy into your child getting help if you're not also receiving some level of help yourself. So again, it's about finding the type of therapy and support that works for you. But I would definitely like for the government to even bring a lot more support into the schools with alternative therapies, make that more available.
Christine, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, and we wish you and your son and the rest of the family well. It's great to hear your story, and I think it's a story that's it's illuminating, and I think it's encouraging as well, because I mean the message going out very much is, look, this can be overcome, and very often there are, as you said, you just have to become a reverse psychologist and a master negotiator, and you're potentially away in a truck. It's been lovely hearing your story, Christine, and we would advise anyone, if they can, grab that TED Talk, and I presume it is available on YouTube, yeah?
It is available on YouTube. If you just type in my name, Christine Duff, TED Talk, it should pop up. And also I'm available on Instagram and Facebook. My handle is Anchor Your Awareness. I'm a life coach as well. So that helped with my son as well, all that. So yeah, it's available. The TED Talk's on YouTube. And if anyone wants to private message me for any other questions, they're more than welcome. Anchor Your Awareness.
Christine, thank you very much indeed for speaking to us this morning.
Thank you so much.
It has been our pleasure. Thank you. That was Christine there, Christine Duff. She did that TED Talk about living with a label, about her son who has autism, and you can see that on YouTube. And that was our Monday Focus.
Chanel, Flowerbomb, Lancome, Giorgio Armani, Paco Rabanne, Hugo Boss. Where else but at McGee's Chemist this Christmas? Sponsors of the 9 till noon show.
Don't sleep in and miss the very latest beds and mattress offers from dfibeds.ie, Ireland's leading online bed and mattress retailer. You'll get a comfy Irish-made mattress, upholstered base and headboard from an amazing €229. Check out the full range at dfibeds.ie. Delivery free and guaranteed to you within 7 working days. DFI Beds. Sleep well, live well.
Homeland fuel offers, keeping you warm for less. 20 kg Eco Bright, buy 5 bags for €50. Softwood logs, 3 bags for €10. 1 kg fire logs, 4 for €5. Shop in store or online at homeland.ie.
Tommy Fleming brings his 30th anniversary tour to the Millennium Forum Dairy on Friday 25th of February. Tommy with his full band will perform all his favourites from the past 30 years. Booking now on millenniumforum.co.uk or from the box office 04871 264455. Tommy Fleming's 30th anniversary tour at the Millennium Forum, February 25th.
Aldi's amazing Secret 6 buy one get one free Christmas offers now in their final week. We've had new 2 for the price of 1 offers every Thursday. This Thursday, exquisite Christmas orchids just $9.99 for 2. And as it's 2 for the price of 1, it's twice the value. That smells like a sweet offer. Aldi, make Christmas amazing for everyone. Hurry while stocks last, terms apply. See aldi.ie for details.
Do you suffer from high cholesterol, menopause symptoms, digestive issues, anxiety, aches and pains, or a lack of energy? The highly trained team at The Natural Way Letterkenny can provide advice on natural remedies for a number of individual health issues. The Natural Way also has its own brand of herbal treatments to help fight fatigue, relieve digestive discomfort, maintain a healthy immune system, and alleviate common menopause symptoms. The Natural Way at Letterkenny Shopping Centre, your one-stop health shop.
Century Complex gift cards are the perfect gift this Christmas. Our gift cards can be used throughout the complex in Backstage Bar and Grill, Century Cinemas and Century Play. Available in-store at Century Complex. Call us on 074 9121976 or check out our website at centurycinemas.ie for more information.
It's the 9 till noon show on Highland Radio, just approaching 20 minutes to 12 noon, 20 minutes left on the programme. before we hand you over to John Breslin, who's going to take you around the Northwest. We spoke earlier about visiting at Letterkenny University Hospital and the fact that there are restrictions there as a result of COVID, and that always brings with it some sad stories, and we're joined on the line by Joseph. Joseph, good morning.
Good morning.
Joseph, tell us the situation you're in at the moment.
Well, my wife went out to hospital last Thursday, and she is getting the best of care in every way. She was in emergency up till yesterday morning, and there was no problem whatsoever going into emergency to visit her. And now that she's in medical 5, they will not allow me in during the day. It has to be 6:30 in the afternoon. And it means 6:30 for everybody going in at the same time, which doesn't make much sense. Anyway, I tried my best to get a daily appointment because I'm 84 years of age, and they expect me to drive 40 odd miles out to Letterkenny to be out there for 6:30 in the evening.
And how long will they allow you spend with her?
Oh, half an hour. I have no complaints about the time, the amount of time.
Yeah.
Half an hour, as long as I get in to see her and talk to her. There's no point in me going in there 6:30 or 7 in the evening. My wife is dementia, very bad with dementia, and she sleeps an awful lot.
Yeah.
She's away to sleep in the evening, so I'd be as well to stay at home. But we've been married for nearly 60 years.
And in fairness, what you've just said to us, Joseph, typifies the phrase "for better or for worse," and fair play to you. I mean, you know, loyalty like that is fantastic to see. I mean, the hospital are telling us that the situation can change on compassionate grounds, and you know, you're asking the question, where here is the compassion?
Yes, I do. A wee bit of common sense.
The emergency, you were in and out.
Joseph, in terms of your wife's health, I mean, I have to ask the question. I mean, how is she? I mean, are you happy with you're happy with the care she's getting?
Oh, she's getting top care.
Excellent. Well, I mean,
no complaints whatsoever.
It's very good to know that. You presumably would prefer to have afternoon visits, even if for no other reason than it means you could do your driving during the day rather than have to drive at night.
Of course, I'm not. The 84-year-old fella's not safe on the road after dark. And especially, it's dark after 4 o'clock now in the afternoon.
Yeah, and you did make a very interesting point there, because as you said, if they're taking everybody in at the same time, my understanding was that staggered visits would be introduced, so some people would be in at 2:30, some at 3, some at 3:30, some at 4, then some at 6:30, some at 7, and that there'd be less people on the ward, but it would be done over what would have been the 2 traditional visiting times. So you're saying they're not taking anybody in the afternoon at the moment?
No. It's 6:30 for everybody.
6:30, 7:30.
That doesn't make any sense.
Bedtime.
I mean, it's certainly it's an issue that we will contact CELTA about, Joseph, and see what response we can get from them. You have said to them that you'd prefer to come in for the afternoon, but to no avail.
I begged them. And even the ward manager, I was speaking to her, and no, point blank, said no way. Rules. The hospital rules. It's not law. It's their own rules, and they change every week.
Emergency department would allow it?
Well, no problem at all down in emergency. You could go in any time at all in the day.
Yeah.
And there's all sorts going through.
Yeah, I mean, all we can do, Joseph, is wish you well, wish your wife well, and hopefully you can get some resolution to this one. But in the meantime, Joseph, thanks for speaking to us this morning, and we wish you a good day, and as we said, all the best of health to you and to your wife as well.
Thanks very much for listening to me.
It's important that people do, Joseph.
I have to make the complaint, but
well, and it's very important that people do. Yeah, Joseph, thank you. You take care.
Thanking you. Bye now.
That's Joseph, and has been married for nearly 60 years to his wife. She's in hospital. He would prefer to visit in the afternoon, if for no, and it's an important reason. If for no, I mean, I would prefer to drive in the afternoon than drive at night, to be honest. And he would rather it's a 40-mile trip to the hospital to visit his wife, and his preference would be to do it during the day. But at this point in time, he's being told it's not possible. Now, my understanding was that what would have been traditional visiting hours were being maintained, but they were being staggered so that there was people coming in at different times. Now, maybe the situation is different on that ward. I do not know, but that's Joseph's story. It's 11:45. Take a short break.
The 9 till noon show, sponsored by McGee's Chemist, Main Street, Letterkenny. With all your perfume and aftershave presents this Christmas. McGee's, delivered to your door, or you can collect in store.
Highland Radio has a Christmas cracker of a competition. How would you like to win 500 litres home heating oil from O'Donnell Fuels Crawley, a fantastic gold meat hamper from Joe McGee Butchers, a huge Christmas goodie hamper from Kelly Centra, and a €200 Shop LK gift card, courtesy of Letterkenny Chamber of Commerce. To enter, answer the following question. In the Fairy Tale of New York song, what were the boys of the NYPD choir singing?
Text Highland, followed by your name and answer to 57080. From Northern Ireland, text 87121. Texts cost €2 or £1.50 plus the operator's network charge. The winner will be announced on the Jive Time show on Tuesday the 22nd of December. Highland Radio, helping make this Christmas extra special.
What do you give someone who has everything? Everything, because that's what you get with an Aldi gift card. Choose from delicious Christmas food and drink, or even our legendary Aldi special buys. Values range from €10 to €500. It's perfect for loved ones, and it shows them just how gifted you are. Purchase in-store or buy online. Aldi, make Christmas amazing for everyone. Terms apply. Visit aldi.ie/gift cards for details.
Raymond Sweeney here from Ben Sweeney Euronics to let you know about the great gifts we have this Christmas. We have fitness trackers from names like Garmin, Samsung, Fitbit and Huawei. The Ninja Air Fryer is a low-fat, healthier way to cook your favourite fried foods, from fluffy golden chips and crispy chicken wings to roasted vegetables. Tassimo and Espresso coffee makers, and a great selection of TVs, laptops and printers. Ben Sweeney Euronics, Fort Road, Letterkenny and the shopping centre Dunlow, with great present ideas this Christmas.
At Cooney's, we have quality suites, chairs, tables, beds and mattresses, all at fantastic value. If you see it, you can buy it, and we'll deliver to your door in time for Christmas. Call into Cooney's at Letterkenny Retail Park.
Need a new part for your Ford car or van? Why not call to OMS Auto Parts in Buncrana? With a massive stock of Ford parts, you're sure to get the part you need. Free next day delivery on orders over €50. Call 074 9361924 or shop online at omsautoparts.ie.
And now the Highland Forecast, brought to you by Shop LK. Widespread Christmas shopping this December in Letterkenny. See shoplk.ie or like us on Facebook.
A mixed day today, variable cloud with sunny spells and some scattered showers. Highest temperatures 5 to 8 degrees Celsius in light to moderate southwest breezes. They'll be fresh in coastal areas tonight, staying mostly dry with clear spells. Cloud pushing in from the Atlantic later, bringing some patchy drizzle toward dawn. Lowest overnight temperatures 0 to plus 4 degrees Celsius with a touch of frost in places. Southwest winds freshening, becoming strong in coastal areas. Tomorrow cloud will increase through the morning with patchy rain and drizzle at times. Breezy in fresh and gusty southwest winds, strong in coastal areas with gales developing off northwest coast for a period. Highest temperatures on Tuesday of 8 to 10 degrees Celsius.
Text 086 60 25,000. Call now on 074 91 25,000.
This is the 9 till noon show, and indeed you'll know if you listen regularly that our papers every morning are sponsored by Kelly's Centra in the Mountain Top in Letterkenny, just a stone's throw across the road from us. And I'm delighted to say we're joined by Marcin Kelly, who is the director of Kelly's Centra. Marcin, good morning.
Good morning, Donal. How are you?
Very well indeed, thank you. Marcin, the Letterkenny Chamber Business Awards that took place recently, success for your own company.
Yes, Donal, we're absolutely delighted. We won the Business Excellence Awards there in the last couple of weeks. So we're absolutely delighted with that, you know, and I suppose a great opportunity for me and my staff just to try and, I suppose, get out there and show what we're about, and to continue to drive standards and drive awareness of our business, you know.
It's been interesting because I've been working here now for over 30 years, so I recall a day when there was pretty much not much up in the mountaintop area except ourselves and the few businesses in George Bowles Business Park, and that was pretty much it. And then Fox Hills was built, and then more estates were built, and then there was a garage and a shop, i.e. yourselves, were built. And the difference in this area over the past, even since you opened, has been huge. I mean, you know, it's gone from being a really quiet part on the outskirts of Letterkenny to really, really busy.
Yeah, and it's interesting that this year we celebrated our 10 years open, September just gone. So the amount of change locally and the amount of houses that's been built, so it's been a real, I suppose, roller coaster in those 10 years. We've grown the business. You know, I've just reflected on before I went on the interview, 7 times we've revamped the business. You know, we started, I think, back in 2011. I think there was 20 staff total. We have, I think, 76 staff last week, and pre-COVID we had about 100 staff. So no, it's been a real roller coaster, and it's been a real positive success story for the mountaintop as a whole, really, I suppose.
From the point of view of COVID, and I suppose you can't speak to any business without it coming into the conversation. Obviously, it would have impacted your diner perhaps more than the retail section, but I'm sure every element of the business has felt the effect of COVID.
Or it did, Donal, and I suppose, look, we had just revamped the business in February 2020. We just finished and completed a revamp, and the diner was part of that. So to be shut down thereafter, very, very quickly thereafter, it certainly did have a huge impact. We were very lucky that our staff stayed and remained with us, and a lot of the staff that we had when we closed came back to us, and even with the last closure, they came back to us again thereafter. So we've been lucky in terms that the staff we had before came back to us, and we're very glad that they did do that. But certainly it's had an impact on everybody's business. What you said there, we were very lucky in the sense that we had just revamped the store, and we done another revamp there in March of this year again, just to try and, I suppose, just stay ahead of the posse, try and talk to what was working well for us and to try and increase space around that. So COVID has had a negative impact on everybody. I think everybody would be happy to see the back of it. And 2022 hopefully will look that little bit more positive for people in general, you know.
Is that the secret to retail then, in your view, that you have to keep on revamping, that the day you say, right, we're grand, we have it the way we want it, we can sort of sit back now and just let it be, that's the day that you're going to start to slip?
Well, Donal, I know in my time we've probably done customer surveys at least 8 or 9 times to try and get ahead of what the consumer needs, because we directly ask them. And then from that, then we'd always have a plan of action. We would take it back to our management team. We would discuss it with our general staff and get their input. And come out of that, then we'd move forward with what we feel, having taken all the stakeholders on board and taken all their opinions on board, give them what they want. And we've always done that. And we've been very lucky to have a strong management team, a very strong staff, and a very strong customer base that we can get the information and using that information and give them what they need. And that's been the success of our business, is giving customers what they want, whether it's, you know, a bigger range in the off license, a bigger range in fresh, a bigger range in ambient, and so on and so forth. We've listened to what they've told us. We've gone ahead then and put a plan of action in place. And to your point, we've grown the business about 4 times the original size since 2011.
Martin, long may that success continue. Congratulations on that Business Excellence Award, and long may you stay there, because it's fierce handy having you across the road.
Well, it's good to see you every morning, and thank you very much.
Martin, thanks very much indeed.
Take care and happy Christmas.
And happy Christmas to you and to all the crew as well. That's Martin Kelly, Director of Kelly Centra in Mountaintop, winners of the Business Excellence Award, as sponsored by Collab in the recent Letterkenny Chamber Awards. And it's good to talk to Martin there. Looking at the papers, and by the way, we will give you the results of our McGee's quiz in just a moment, and there'll be a quiz all through the week, of course, a quiz every day, and then at the end of the week we'll have that rather excellent looking hamper to be won. We'll get to the answer to that quiz and the result very shortly indeed. Interesting to see in the paper this morning that surveying is well underway for the broadband rollout in the in the area. The National Broadband Ireland companies say that the surveying works are progressing. They are ramping up their surveying of homes and communities, and over 280,000 premises now surveyed nationwide. We know in Donegal there are over 32,000 premises in the intervention area which have yet to be done, and we are hoping that we'll see that expedited. We heard last week from Councillor Gary Doherty in the Lifford-Stranorlar area that in that particular area there are still major issues with broadband connections, and there are people working from home and they are trying to get to a point where they can actually do their day's work, and in many cases they're stymied from doing their day's work because they are just not in a position to so do. Don't forget, by the way, today and any other day you can make contact with the programme. We are on 086 60 25,000 for your text messages, where that's good for WhatsApp as well. You can call us on 074 91 25,000, and you can use social media at Highland Radio on Twitter. We're Highland Hub on Facebook, and you can of course also email us. It's comments@highlandradio.com. Just to remind you that McGee hamper, by the way, that you can win over the course of the programme. All this week there's a daily prize daily, and then you can win the hamper. The hamper contains a Lancome Christmas hamper. There's a blank canvas luxury advent calendar set. There is a Be Perfect Iconic Essentials set, a bottle of Chanel's Bleu de Chanel for man. There's a bottle of Victor and Rolf's Flower Bomb for women, and a gallery wrapped canvas. You can have your favourite photo wrapped in canvas and ready to hang on your wall. Today's question was: the movie Miracle on 34th Street is based on a real life department store in New York. What is that store? That was the question for today, and there'll be a question every day this week, daily prizes, and then, and as I say, very shortly we'll be able to tell you who won the McGee's quiz today. We're coming very close now at this point to the end of the programme. Just to remind you, by the way, that those roadworks on the outskirts of Letterkenny on the 4-lane there, we had been hoping to see those ease back in December, and that people would have a little bit of respite. Now we're told, following discussions between the contractor and the chamber, the roadworks are now going to continue up to December 23rd. However, the contractors are saying it will be day work only, and the barriers will be up until, as we say, Thursday, December 23rd. No nighttime lane closures, and the contractors are committed, they say, to reassessing the situation, and they will withdraw their teams if the works do begin to cause major disruptions and long traffic delays. And the chamber in Letterkenny are monitoring the situation there. It's been great to have your company on the show this morning. We're very much coming to a close. Don't forget, by the way, John Breslin coming up around the Northwest once this programme is over. And we will have David James with Jive Time in the afternoon. And that, of course, will be followed by the evening news. And then we'll have the Power Hour with Ivan. But that's it from the 9 till noon show for today. I just want to thank Caroline Orr for the production and for all her help on the programme this morning. Thanks to Canis and John for getting the quiz together, and most importantly, thanks to all our contributors, and thanks very much indeed to you for listening. This programme, as we so often say, would be nothing without you, and it's your perspectives, it's your contributions, and it's your perspectives and stories that make this show what it is. We're back tomorrow, but for me, Donal Kavanagh, have a very good day.
Chanel, Flower Bomb, Lancome, Giorgio Armani, Paco Rabanne, Hugo Boss. Where else but at McGee's Chemist this Christmas? Sponsors of the 9 till noon show.
Lisa Loher here from John